there it is. Okay.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So this is the guy that you were saying might show up still.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. Craig's here.
He's here. There he is.
I don't know if we're gonna talk. I might as well. I don't know.
That's fine.
It's a little log. Okay. I forget it's there, to be honest. Half the time I'm talking. Okay. I should have done that before you started talking, Greg. But I don't know. This is a little
No, that's all right.
So yeah, just after you said it, right? It's like you gotta be willing to fail, right? I gotta take a chance and fail. So there we go. That was prophetic.
Yeah. That
All right.
was my that's my point.
Oh yeah. Also,
so
that point you made. That point you made. Oh yeah. So yeah. Okay, that's a good question. So I feel like because I have several reasons. One is that I think my initial reason was that it's kind of like split into two parts. One is that I wanted to. It's kind of like there's like the negative and like the positive side. The negative is that I feel like almost all RPGs and groups out there are like, I don't know, we're like pagan almost. There's this like, there's sorcerers, there's like the false gods, there's a lot of like there's the, and so you can just go off like a list. There's like the occult, there's demons, there's demonic behavior. I don't know, there's just a long list of just evil crap out there. And it's encouraged, promoted, and supported in almost everywhere you go. And it's also that's also leaked its way to every other content and franchise that exists now too.
Mm-hmm.
So that was one part of it, but that's kind of more the negative side. But I just kind of I feel like I just got so fed up with it, and I almost feel like just so disgusted inside about it. And there wasn't like a ton of options. I mean, there's a couple here and there, but like even if you were to just for example, just to try to play more of a realistic game versus a fantasy. Like realism games are still filled with a lot of bad stuff technically too. It's just a different version of it. But and that's like the best you could hope for. So then I also then I wanted to build my own. I wanted to build my own group, and I kind of just maybe like on some levels I just wanted like a group of people I can kind of just hang out with every week and just talk and have something to do, and I can play this RPG group, and then also, like, because I'm a Christian and I want to try to find maybe other people of the faith, put Christian themes and aspects in them. And I also feel like if I'm gonna write I'm gonna write characters, build stories, I'm gonna put like I don't know like multiple potential hundreds if not thousands of hours into something. I mean, it might as well be something that I believe in, or that we can so something more wholesome, more pure. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's at least a good building a strong foundation. Then we can work off of that. So I think that's some of my reasons there, I guess.
Okay.
Can I ask a question then? How do you know? And this is a question, I guess, for everybody and me. How do you know if you've achieved that goal with your game? How do you know it's more wholesome or more pure or more I don't know, Christian? How do you define that? I guess that's what I'm trying to work out.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. I feel like probably just the results. Over the course of years, I've been doing a lot. I go on different social media and I talk to like lots of people. And sometimes I feel like when you after you do the thing you do a long time, it's kind of put to like the test, I guess. It's like trialed and tested. And then you get a result at the end of that. I think that's kind of like that's more like evidence, I think you might call it, that you've either achieved or you failed. So I've seen some of these points happen a few times, and I think that's kind of like really showed me in my mind the value from it. What we call it, the fruit. Is that what they call it? The fruit, maybe that's a good word.
Yeah.
I'll try to think of a few examples off the top of my head, but if anyone else has any other thoughts on this, they're welcome to share it too.
Sure.
Or I guess Antonius, you might have some. You've been doing this a lot longer than me. Maybe you've seen some of this yourself.
Yeah, and Tony's, what's your goal? If you don't mind,
yeah,
asking.
yeah. It's kind of somewhere in between the two of you. I enjoyed, the concepts of role playing games. I did more reading of the manuals than I did actually playing. Exploring the setting, and actually not just the setting though. I was exploring, making characters and planning out the level ups and that kind of stuff. And I did some playing with the friends. I only had one friend that really was into that kind of thing at all. And it wasn't until college before I met other people. And we didn't play a ton then, but I got to play more. And I did a few different systems, like we had the actual old 90s Marvel game and D&D, and this one Heroes was the name of the system, and they had the one that was kind of superhero-y, which was the champion version of it. Yeah, but it was still the hero system. And yeah. So I got to play, and Hero was especially crunchy. But that tickled my fancy. I was more along those lines. That's more what I enjoyed, So I wasn't really. I wanted to make. I had, long story short, with this one, I had thought way back when I was a kid, very young kid, watching the original D&D cartoon on TV. And and around the same time, I had been having my mom read Revelation to me. And so I'm like, I really was interested in the world of D&D. It was different. It was not our world. I liked fantasy. I was intrigued by fantasy, but I didn't like in the cartoon how, yes, there was the dungeon master, but he was kind of purposely uninvolved a lot of times, except for rescuing them. He wasn't involved in the main plot. You know what I mean? And so the only magic you saw regularly in the main plot was pretty much or consistent, because they had the bumbling wizard, was consistently was evil. Evil was, always had all the power, and they were, because you got to make the plot interesting, right? So they were always at a disadvantage, and all of that. Hold on a second, I got to turn this phone off. Our kids have their house phone stays in here, and then it beeps at me all these times, and I'm like, "Stop it! You're distracting me." Anyway, so then it just it just felt weird, because there was just where I know the story, I know how that there's a God in the thing, and there's a God above all, and there's the true source of power, and so and it was just devoid there. It just felt really missing. But there was real, tangible power on the other side. So in our life, we believe there's demons and all these things, but we also believe in God. But they're both a little less tangible, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that made it feel dark to me as a kid. It just felt kind of dark and not, uninviting, and even though it was intriguing. So I thought, gee, there's a lot of stuff like in the Bible, like look in the spirit realm, there's dragons even. The cartoon, you got Tiamat, and then we've got the seven-headed dragon. It's like ours even have two more heads, but no. But
more heads for your buck. Yeah.
What's that?
More heads for your buck.
Exactly. So I'm like, there is this stuff in the Bible. Why don't we make, why don't I make a world like that, but let it be the spirit realm? That would be fun. And then I started thinking, and I have in my Protestant experience as a child, I was like, well, I can think of Michael. He'd be like the fighter, okay, and then Gabriel, I guess he'd be kind of like the roguish kind of fast character, right? The agile, whatever. And then I couldn't think of any more. And so I was like, oh, well, because, we don't have any more named ones. And I just thought, well, that's just martial combat on the good guy side. That would get kind of boring after a while. And then I dropped the idea. And it wasn't until I was 24 pacing after church with my first child that I had the idea for ministering spirits and minstrels, and some scriptures that kind of support that. And then it was like, oh, it was that whole, like what you talked about, the whole magic thing. What do I do with that? And in this, I had the idea that, look, the ministering spirit concept is kind of like the stereotypical cleric in the sense of ministering to others, or can be, and it's part of what they do. And so that gave me an idea. And then if if they're spiritual beings, if they're blessed with this power, if it's coming from within themselves and they're not mastering and harnessing some extra, whatever power, or I've seen Christian games do this and it kind of gets me. Do it if you want, but I don't like miracles and that kind of thing, because I feel like they put God in a box and he's a genie and you rub the lamp and you'll get a predictable response, So I didn't want to go there with it, but this was an answer that it's like, hey, they're using their own abilities just like a singer or an artist or anybody else, a business person that's really good at those things, and you can use them for good or for evil. And so that answered the magic thing, because these characters in the spirit realm were using, it made sense. It made sense that they could have other, powers beyond that. And so then the minstrels are just taking the concepts of music and in the spirit realm, again, the things are manifesting the results of that music, and whether it affects you or not, if you can blow it off, or whether it moves you, are manifested in fun visual ways as well. So still, again, using their own power, but not, their own talents that God gave them, and not, not having them master some source of power that isn't the Lord, that's external to them, which is really the crux of what magic is in the Bible. What it's calling against is, don't call on another God, call on me, Yahweh,
Yeah.
So it overdid
I have.
that.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I have to ask you a question. Maybe I've asked you this before, I can't remember. But have you read This Present Darkness by Frank
Oh, yeah.
Peretti?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and that
read
sort of
those.
stuff. So,
Yeah, I
they're
read
quite
those.
old now, but yeah.
No, that and the
It's
sequel,
famous.
The Piercing the
And
Dark.
Peace in the Darkness. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because that reminds me a lot of that sort of stuff.
it does.
So your angels, they have music as one of their kind of celestial powers.
It can be,
Is
yeah,
that
yeah.
right? Oh, okay. Yeah.
I mean, and it functions, like I said, the way the way I interpreted it was, when angels appear to people to deliver a message, they usually look like humans and they're not too distracting, even though they may be glorious and distracting in that way. But they don't have wings, and they're not described that way in those ways.
Yeah.
But then when man's eyes are opened up into the spirit realm, then a lot of the meaning doesn't come from the words that are spoken as much as the images and the symbolic visuals they see. And so I kind of go with the idea that where we have a material universe, so I can knock on this desk and it's hard because of the cellular structure and all that, and my nose is my nose the way it is. Maybe it's been broken a time or two, or maybe it's but it's also related to my genetics and DNA and all that. But the way things appear in these spiritual visions is very meaningful. And so I kind of go with that's the nature of the spirit realm, that it's not material like ours, but it is a lot more. And these beings are can appear how they choose to appear, and so like I said, even the music manifests symbolically as well, not just in so you can have kind of like a lightning bolt striking somebody or whatever, but it's a visual representation of what the song is trying to move in the person.
Yeah. No, cool. No, I'd still like to try. Definitely like to play your system at some point. I don't know when, but yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, it would be fun.
Next time you're doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to set up, our what would be in the United States a Monday during the business hours kind of game, because there's some people that want to play, and the one guy's only free on weekdays during the day, and that's not when most Americans can play. So yeah, if there's a time where, and I think you'd be a good gaming partner for this guy, and I think there's another guy that wants to jump in as well. But
Okay. Well, we'll see. I'll see when I've got time. Are you doing that every week?
well, no, we're looking for a time to plan it. So
Okay.
I can
Okay.
ping you in my Discord. I think you joined the Discord, so
Yeah,
because you popped in the other night.
Yes, unexpectedly. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So the only ongoing game I have is an every other Wednesday evening game, and we just started a campaign. I don't do a lot of campaigns. It's very episodic, which works when you have people coming in and out, and allows you to do events, and whoever shows up, that kind of thing. And it works that way because a lot of the storylines revolve around humans and their circumstance. So what angelic forces are involved behind the scenes mostly only matters for me to plan power level accordingly of the bad guys.
Okay.
It doesn't sacrifice the story because, oh no, I had your spotlight moment and the story was coming up and you didn't show up tonight.
Yeah. I must admit, one of my biggest issues was running, because I'm trying to run sort of episodic stuff, for exactly the reason is that people kind of change every week. You don't always have the same people, so I'm trying to make more episodic one shots. And my biggest issue was time. Games always run over time, and it's just like, or we go, oh well, look, we've still got, we haven't finished
It
yet.
does.
Maybe we'll do it next week, and then next
You're
week,
right.
12 different people turn up, and
Yeah,
so yeah.
you're right. No, that's the
Yeah,
thing.
that's something I need to learn better. I need to work out how to time my.
We can talk about that sometime. You definitely have to design differently. You can't have complex storylines unless your combat is very fast. If your combat's very fast, then you can have more complex story, but you've got to find the balance of what would fit within about a 4-hour block, And if you plan for 3 to 3.5, it'll be 4 to 4.5.
Yes.
Because the players don't move efficiently. They definitely don't. The players will throw you the curveballs.
Especially when you give them an ethical issue to discuss, and they're there discussing back and forth, and they go, "Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should do that. Maybe we shouldn't. Maybe we should. What do you think? You're there for half an hour and sort of go, let's make a decision, guys."
That's another cop out I kind of have, and I say that tongue in cheek. It's not a cop out, but I get around the issue of you still have to deal with other ethical issues, and you're helping humans deal with issues. So you're doing it kind of like how therapy likes to do it, third person,
Exactly. Yeah.
somewhat. But it is still. With the combat, we don't worry about killing somebody or whatever, because the enemy's going to recover. You're going to recover. You're just defeating them temporarily, and that's another wonderful thing about having spiritual characters.
Yes. Yeah.
And the you don't have people either. You can have somebody that's immature like their character is immature and will become more mature. That's fine, but you don't have this for good or for bad. You don't have this character arc where the person's role playing a wicked or bad or whatever person that needs to become good now. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to deal with that as much. Either.
Right. Okay.
What do you think, Grace?
Thanks for sharing, everybody. That is okay. That's a nice, deep explanation from everybody, but my actual question is, I guess, more for Phil and you, Greg. Are you intending your games to be, your systems to be for sale? I don't have to ask Antonius because I can essentially access his entire system on the internet if I know where to, because he's already built up his whole website, and I can read all of it if I need to. But I want to
Is
know
it for sale?
from
Is
is
Antonius? Is that for sale,
It
Antonius?
will, okay, so
the book will be for sale, I think.
yeah, books will be for sale. Where the real thing we're doing, because the combat is stinking crunchy, and so to take it from being a niche game that it will appeal to people that like Pathfinder and better, better meaning more crunchy, not better literally, you know. Then I have a companion app. I have a tech guy, and I have a web or an app UX UI guy. And long story short, we are making a companion app that will do more than D&D Beyond does. And so there will be, not for the players. Players will have to be free, but we will have like a membership for the host tools, because we're going to have all kinds of tools for the GM. And we're hoping that people will be able to share the load or sponsor, and it won't be much anyway. So we'll have that and some microtransactions within the app as options, not necessity. So anybody can play for free. Ultimately, the rules will be on a wiki still, absolutely free. If you have the access to the app, the app will be applying the rules for free, but we will have to have some ways to make money to cover the fact that we've got professional people doing a lot of it.
Yeah, well, this is my issue, is that, and I've thought about this a lot in terms of, like, as a Christian, or as an artist, if we are artists, not drawing artists, but like a creative person. Where does the money actually, where does it come from? Because I'm more than happy to send stuff out for free. But by the same token, I would still like to be able to do this and make money from it, mostly just because I'd like to do this as a job, which would be great if it was payable. So yeah, I guess probably eventually, yeah. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel up at the moment, which I haven't posted to all year, which is a problem.
Mhm.
But one of the reasons was also to try to get some kind of outward exposure, and to try to get people knowledgeable about what's going on and what the game is. But by the same token, if I was a much better business person, I would be having a website. I would have a place where I could, people could see things, where I could record games, where I could actually show them, how it works and stuff like that. And I haven't really been doing that much because I've just been busy with other things, which mostly involve working and getting money, which is very ironic. But
Exactly.
Yep.
but yeah. So I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I'd like to. The issue with one of the things I guess we're learning from Dungeons and Dragons and Wizards of the Coast is that there was a situation where the license fee was available for everyone, and so everyone could make their own campaigns and write their own adventures and stuff like that, and just use, the rules and everything from D&D and homebrew everything out. And that, of course, opened it up for everybody, and everybody was able to use it. But it wasn't a big money spinner, because once you got the book, once you got the rules, you didn't necessarily need to buy anything else, because you could just do it on your own. But it did
Yeah.
open the hobby up for everybody, and I like that idea. I like the idea, because my primary goal is, okay, I'm trying to see this as more of a teaching tool. I'd like people to be able to use it and use it for youth groups, and use it for, people, and talk about, use it as a simulation activity, and talk about issues that they're going through, and, and that sort of thing. So, but if I do that, then sure, that is beneficial for everybody, but I don't get anything for that, which I guess maybe that's okay. Maybe that's, I need to have faith in God rather than in, late stage capitalism. So maybe that is a there's a thing I should do. But anyway, I'm sort of back and forth about it a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. Oh yeah, so I guess for me then, right? So I feel like I haven't quite got to that point where I really made any money on, like the social media yet. But I'm kind of getting to the point where it might slowly become an option, I guess. And I feel like I would like to. I've been thinking about a bunch of different models of how to make the money. Also, like what to do with the money if I make it then. Because like originally I just kind of made this just for fun. It was like a little hobby, a little passion hobby, right? But as an adult, like money's a problem. It's always something in your life. I thought about. I think like there's. I think there are. What do you call it? Like ethical ways to make money doing stuff. Like I think one method that I'm open to. I think I want to do is maybe like what do you call it? Like a monthly. I don't know, like a monthly subscriber or like a monthly person. Like you can just like I don't know, like give like $5 to the community, the channel, like every month or something. I'm not sure the best way to call that. It could just be like the channel. Everything's still kind of free, but like a person could just like give a small amount of money, or you would probably go to me right at the end of the day. But some of it could go to the channel too. I think that's a pretty ethical way of doing it. Like another thing is since I make YouTube videos, like it just sometimes some of those things are just automatic. Like you click on a video and you watch it, small amount of the ads would just go to the person, or if you have the premium, small amount of money goes out to the creator. So you kind of just generate money like kind of passively, without having to really like squeeze it out of somebody. I don't know. Like I could sell certain individual things too, but I guess it's also just difficult it's difficult to get people to even show up in the first place or be interested. So yeah. Oh yeah. I guess I'll throw this out there. Does anyone ever give money like passively to like a group or a person online currently, or have you ever done something like that before?
I never did anything like
Yeah.
that before.
All right, what was the question?
Well, okay. So based off of what I said, have you ever done anything like that before yourself? Like I'm not trying to think of a good way to call it. Like monthly or
Support a
something
creator like on Patreon or other ways.
Oh yeah, like that.
Oh, hey, I wonder if
Not really.
gifts count. Does something like that count?
Wait, say it again.
TikTok gifts. I don't know if that counts or not.
Kind of does. Yeah. Yeah, that's another way of doing it. It's just ways to support the people who do something. Yeah, I've been wanting to. I feel like I think one of my plans is for me personally, is to find a way to just maybe start with something very small, and just try to find a way to generate a very small amount of money, like every month, I guess. And just I think it's like even the biblical way of like being a good steward. 'Cause I feel like if I'm a good steward with a very small amount, I believe that God will help me, to expand it over time. I think that would be the best way to kind of do this kind of thing. So, 'cause I think there is like the level of person. Sometimes people get like very greedy though too. It's like there's making money, and then there's making like extravagant large amounts constantly. I think it's like there's like an ethical level, I guess. Like I've seen a lot of like capitalism greed. That can become a very dangerous thing. But I also think that if you never make any money ever, it's not like that's not fair either. I guess I feel like to some extent too. So
Why couldn't it take for capitalism today?
I think it all depends. I was gonna say it all depends on how you're getting it, why it's being given to you, and if are you setting expectations on that. So I think there can be room for all different diversity of systems. I think the biggest thing is being upfront and communicating. But if you're, I mean, I don't have a problem with somebody. Well, let's not get into personal things, but yeah, I think that the biggest thing I think that ticks people off is when they're expecting it to do a certain thing, or they're buying and supporting kind of, they think in their mind giving, because they're buying something that they expect, or that has been advertised or whatever, that it will the proceeds will go toward certain benevolent things, or other like producing the product or something else. And then a person is pocketing more than they need to survive or support themselves for doing the work. That's the kind of stuff, and that just gives it a bad name, and then people start reacting. I mean, I know there's more to it than all that, but I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to Christian stuff, like what we're talking about. You know what I mean? It'd be the same that if I had I wasn't just selling books, but I was receiving Patreon support or something else, and then I'm driving a Rolls Royce on that money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's true. And I think there's been situations in the past where people have not been very transparent with where the money's gone. And it's been revealed later there's been corruption, or there's been something like that. And I think that really ruins sort of the reputation for everyone. And I think that's a big issue. I don't think people are that against paying for a product, like a good product, something that does what it says and is promised and stuff like that. I think what people are concerned about is that they don't get what they were promised. They don't get either the thing doesn't arrive, or it's not good quality, or something like that. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, those are some good thoughts. I also, one other thing I guess I would also say is I think there actually is a lot of advantages, because I mean I have given money to different groups and people. Like, I do support things sometimes. I'm not saying I always do, but I think that, because like if you have resources flowing in, and like for example like a community or a channel, then that person can also use them for other purposes too. Because if you don't have anything flowing in, like nothing can ever really flow back out, I guess, too. So it's kind of like, I feel like it's a little bit dualistic in a sense sometimes. Because also, for example, say I I mean, it could be my little channel, or I know a bunch of other people. They like try to promote like Christianity or values or ideals, but it's really like the reach there's gonna be an ending point to the reach if without any kind of resources coming in. And it's, again, like if I had, like, for example, even Greg, you work a job, like there's no way you could really be promoting like a full-time ministry while working like 50 hours a week, then promoting a full-time ministry, basically impossible. And you could never do anything. You can't do anything of any like real value without something to back you up. So it's like there is like the pros to it, I guess, too.
I mean, and then there's also, like, let's say I did, and I don't know how I'm going to. I will back up what Phil, or not Phil, but Greg was talking about earlier. Greg, you were saying you like that it's free, but I'll take it, or that it's, once you buy the book, now you just have lots of enjoyment, which is great. But that's one of the challenges with RPG stuff. That's why you see like Paizo and everybody like cranking out always more modules, more peripherals, more everything, because that's one of the comments I got from game store owners that I've talked to. If they hear I'm seriously trying to design an RPG and not just for fun, that I want to do anything business with it, they're like, well, good luck making money, because they said RPG people are the they don't mean this in a way that's pejorative, but they said are the cheapest people. We don't make any money off of them, and they are in the store the longest, and they do all the other things they need the most. They're using the toilet paper and everything else, but they don't spend any money unless they happen to need dice this week. So that weren't trying to complain. They love the RPG people, and it gives life to the store, but they definitely aren't profiting from it.
Oh,
Yeah, I think
Go ahead.
this is one of the
Nope.
issues with creative industries as well. So one of my peripheral hobbies connected to this is designing board games. So because that's how I originally got into the hobby, was through board gaming. And they say that if you want to make $1 million designing board games, you need to start first with $2 million, and then by the end of it, you'll have $1 million left. So kind of you don't do it because you want to be rich. You do it because you feel passion towards it, or because you feel a need to create. And I think that's probably true. But by the same token, you're putting a whole bunch of effort and time and energy into this thing, and then you may not get any monetary reward at all. It is a little bit disheartening.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I would be scared if I were trying to do this on my own and just deciding I wanted to do it. The only reason I'm not scared is because I am spending money. I mean, I'm spending a lot of money, and have spent over the last 7 years. Once I realized that God said, yes, he really wants to put this out, I have spent a lot of money, a lot. And so, but I also did it. I did not spend money on developing it for the first 20 years, almost, not quite. It's been 26, so a little less than 20 years. I did not spend money because, I was treating it like, how we would, I guess, a normal thing. But then once I believed God was saying he wants to publish this thing, then some of it was wise and prompted and whatever, and some of it was me making mistakes, stuff like that too. But that's why I'm doing it. I believe there will be something, whether it gets viewed as a ministry and I can crowdfund it effectively, like crowd support it, or whether it's just this is my gift and a lot of this is effectively a tithe for me, or however it turns out in the end. I'm just proceeding on faith because he said do it. So, but yeah, otherwise there really isn't. I can't see how to support a business on it unless you're really cranking out supplemental materials and you have a professional team that is putting the stuff out. I just don't see how a small team of 1 to 3 people, probably 3, I guess I could see it, but like one, if they all had appropriate skills, but certainly not soloing. No way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's hard. I mean, I've been working on mine for coming up 6 years, and I've got a book written, and I've got the system worked out, I think, and I've got a few sort of recordings of games and things like that. But again, and the YouTube channel, I mean, that was a trying to get a way of trying to put it out there. But I suppose I could put it onto Drive-Thru RPG, or I could do something like that. But I sort of feel like doing that is not much purpose. It's not going to, no one's going to buy it if they don't know what it is. No one's going to buy it if they're not that interested. And so you'd have to kind of push this groundswell of interest really for it to make any sort of headway or any sort of profit. So yeah.
And see, that's what I was thinking when I was hearing you talk was your product then isn't your world. So you're going to have to market how your system is unique, what it brings that other systems don't, because there's also an influx of game systems these days too. But there's fewer. There aren't. I'm seeing a lot of games, RPGs coming out, but they're all specific to a world. I'm not
Yeah.
seeing GURPS come out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not seeing
Yeah, I
stuff
know.
like that come out that is generic to a world in recent times. So if you're bringing things, social dynamics and things like that that you can't just do by intentionally being more purposeful as a GM to do it. You know, that's where
Mm.
you'll need to refine your thoughts more, is asking yourself, how is my system, like the system itself, the mechanics, how it runs, what the stats are, whatever, those things, how is that bringing the differences, how is it facilitating the social things that you're wanting, all of those things that you're wanting in a way that other systems can't, with that they can't
Yeah.
just have a GM be more mindful to include those things, and now they happen, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've thought about that. I don't know, maybe I will create a world or something and say, oh, you know, this is how the spiritual operates, and this is how, you know, I'm a bit loath to go the fantasy route, not because I don't like fantasy. I love fantasy. It's one of my things I read all the time, but it's just so much fantasy out there.
There's so much of it. It's everywhere.
Not that it's a
So
bad
much.
thing. But yeah. But yeah, no, it's good advice. Maybe I should do that and think about the setting.
Because you're just saying that people don't glom on to the world because there isn't a specific one. So I think that you're going to have to find whatever it is that is unique. It's the same thing, the business advice that I'll get as a realtor or anybody else. You know, why should they care? You have to show people, not convince them necessarily.
Yeah.
They'll decide on their own, but present it so they can convince themselves why your game is special and unique and why they would
Yeah.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah. For some interesting reasons, setting seems to be tied up very closely with system, and that's something that seems to be pushing a lot of the sales of TTRPGs. But when you have the system, are you still on 3D6, Greg?
Yep.
Okay. When you have like a setting neutral system, I guess people can't really identify with that all that much. I'm not so sure. We can come back to that. Let's see. So I guess, yeah. So my reason for asking this was basically, I wanted to know where you were going with your games, Phil, because if you just wanted to make a system or refine it to play with people that didn't involve magic or sorcery and stuff, that's fine. But if you were hoping to sell stuff out of it, then that would be a different story. I guess you've probably figured out I'm not so keen on AI, but I have found a few different resources. And yes, Antonius, I appear to be one of those RPG people who doesn't pay for anything. But
You don't pay.
yeah,
I,
I'm a
It's the
total
truth.
cheapskate.
It is. It's
I will
fine.
go
There's nothing wrong
for
with
Do
it.
it.
all
Get
of
out.
the
Get
free
out of this.
stuff. Um,
no, you're
Huh?
wise. You're wise. You're wise. keep
Thank you.
saving money.
Thank you. Yes.
I know it's kind of sucks for
I
everyone else, but I mean, it's really
I
smart
am
at the same time.
interested. I am interested in TTRPGs for what story I didn't come up with, and exploring that, which is why I think this is a really good conversation, because the three of you here have come up with your own systems, and they're all very different. And that's sort of why I am interested in all of your games. Maybe we start with Antonius's first. So you've got the basic premise that the player character is already going to be on the good side, and they're going to be angelic, essentially. And that's fun to me because I'm human, and as far as I know, I'm not going to be turned into an angel anytime soon. So that's that's like that's the unreal part that's appealing to me. I guess I play RPGs because of what I wouldn't personally experience in real life, or or that I'm not in real life. So the further removed it is from me personally, I think the more interesting and more fun it is. And then in Phil's games, I think a lot of you're a hero, essentially. I think can you only be a good hero, or can you be a neutral hero? I'm not so sure, but you definitely get some powers, some supernatural powers of sorts. Air, fire, earth, water. That's not magic based. Can you only be good or neutral, or?
Oh yeah, those are some good questions. I feel like I try to promote being more neutral and good, but occasionally I have some people who, I guess, push my limits, and sometimes they play like a lawful evil character. It doesn't work out very good. I feel like being evil. I mean, I feel like I like the idea of storytelling, but I guess I make these rules. I have so many different rules, right? I think because my world's more sandboxy, that's why I have rules. It's like kind of like playing the sandbox. I gotta play by these rules, I guess. That's probably why I set them up in the first place. I think because I feel like that's why I wanted to restrict like magic from the players, at least initially, so that I guess it kind of makes people do other stuff instead. Like putting boundary lines, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. But okay, so mostly for good or neutral characters. That's fine. Now, Greg, I think yours is mostly ordinary people, but if your intention for making your system is more of a teaching tool, I think, how do I put it?
I've got my work cut out for me if I want to sell it.
Well, I don't know. That
Not necessarily.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been thinking about what I could sell as well.
I think
as
so.
uh,
I
but
guess. No, sorry, you go on. I'll talk to me. You go on.
okay. So I have been going over my past writings, and there's stuff like plays that I did for church. What is this? Short stories, novellas, and the most recent RPG homebrews. Yes, notebooks, games, stuff like that. And the conclusion that I came to was, I'm gonna give out my church plays, because that might be helpful to people in their churches, and like and I've already made them. Well, a lot of them. So like for Mother's Day, Father's Day, simple stuff like that. And I went all the way back to like 2007. And I'm like, okay, if this is helpful to people's churches, I shouldn't hold that back. But if they want to donate, I won't say no. So they can just have it. And there's no AI involved. It just already exists, essentially, like what I've already done. So, but like other stuff that might be, fictional or semi-fictional, I might charge for that. I'm not so sure yet. But I figured out that the church plays can be people can just have. So I guess it might be up to you whether you want maybe like the system might be readily available, but the setting, maybe you could charge for that. I don't know. That's up to you.
Yeah, it's so I mean, sorry, you finish and I'll butt in.
And also the other thing is that if I'm a normal human in your game, then my purpose would be to role play a person that I'm not in real life, because that's the fun part. I'm exploring your world, but as somebody I'm normally not.
Yep.
Which is all the more interesting for me, because yes, I want to know what your setting and your storyline is. But if I am, for example, role playing a more holy moly person than I actually am, then I need to reflect that in my role playing. And so if there's an NPC talking to me in your story that really annoys me as a player, but my character is more of a saint than I am, then I need to role play that as well.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Right, great. See, but
I know where that came from.
If I don't role play that as a role playing character, then I failed. I failed there. But then would you? That becomes a question of how much you will see behind the scenes of role playing of role playing, because if I just say, okay, my character does this, and then I don't explain why I do that or don't do that, then there's going to be a divide between the player and the character that you don't see as somebody who's interested in teaching people. Is something I wanted to mention.
Yes. So the idea is, so I think what you're saying is that, okay, I could pretend to be a much better person than I actually am, or there could be a big sort of discrepancy between who I am as an actual person and what my character is like, and and as a result, there's not necessarily going to be much of an overlap. Is that what you're kind of saying in terms of from the teaching perspective?
Not so much. More like you might not perceive it, or you might perceive it less in a role playing game, or so like if I'm playing like a newly converted believer in your game, and there's who's very passionate and quite understanding of people, and and I talk to someone who my character can really identify with,
But you hate
like
them.
before they were
Yeah.
converted.
Yeah.
As a player, I might find them very annoying,
Yeah.
and that might but I might I don't know, I don't really know how to talk to them as a player, but my character is definitely wanting to convert them. So I might try to so my character might try to keep the conversation going, even though as a player I'm less
You don't want
interested.
to. Yeah.
I
Sure.
guess, yeah.
Um,
So,
I
but
think.
then if I don't explain it, then you might see my character, still trying their best to talk to the NPC, while as a player, um,
You're not really into it.
um, or that I'm just not explaining it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think my opinion, and again, this is not anything else but my opinion. I think that's true all the time in a role playing game. And I think what you were saying earlier that maybe you want to play someone very different from yourself. You want to play a character who's very different, and that's the fun. That's the fun of that sort of stuff and doing things. I
Mhm.
don't want to, in my system, have any obligation to act in any way. You don't have to act Christian. You don't have to be good or bad or anything like that. I don't like games where they say, "Oh, well, you can't lie to people. You're not allowed, or you can't, intimidate people, or you can't, do selfish things, or you can't do anything like that." Because that's not true in real life. I can lie to people in real life. I probably shouldn't, but I can do it. I'm able to. And if you get annoyed by somebody in real life, I think that's, you can certainly get annoyed by somebody in a game. I think, I think you should be allowed to play whoever you want, even if it's a bad person. I think you should be allowed to, kill people if you want to. You should be allowed to steal and rob people and do anything you like. I think that's important for any sort of simulation sort of activity that you're in. The only thing to be aware of is that there will be consequences for all of your actions in the game. So if you treat someone rudely in the game, they're probably not going to talk to you or going to react in a bad way. If if somebody annoys you in the game, that's fine. You can not talk to them, or if you want to get information from them, address them in a different way, or something like that, or intimidate them, or threaten them, or put a gun to their head, or something like that. You can do it anything you want, but there is going to be consequences in that, and I think that's important in terms of helping people understand that okay, the game world does remember what's going on, and it's going to come back and hurt you. You can't just be a murder hobo all the time and not get any consequences from it. You can for a short while, but there is going to be issues coming up from it. And that's one of the things I was trying to be in the game as well. You're not all powerful. You don't have superpowers. You can't just, get away with everything and, fireball an entire village and, get away with it. So I think that's my sort of issue. I'm not sure if that's answering your question or not, or addressing what you're saying. There was something else I was going to say.
Here, I got something I can say to you, Greg. So yeah, I think
Yeah,
I like
cool.
I definitely like the second part of what you're saying about like. I think that's kind of what I do with my world a little bit too. Is like it's pretty open
Yeah.
and I could call it like morally gray. Like you can do something bad, right? And there's gonna be consequences. All that kind of stuff too. I think though the only other I guess like the critique or the maybe a little bit of some like call it constructive feedback, right? Is that if your world is like extremely neutral and open and everything, and kind of for everyone and all these things, I do feel like that's definitely gonna like really cripple your ability to ever be able to sell it or be able to like promote it, because you won't really have like a brand name image, and you don't like you're not like it's like if your world was like a Christian world, right? You could label it Christian and you can kind of push it out there as a Christian world. and that would help you a lot.
Okay.
Or you could be just like a very secular game, like a pagan game, basically, right? You could push it out there like
Mhm.
that, and you get this massive, thing backing you up. I think I think one of the problems also you might have with your game is you don't really have that much of like a clear cut narrative or an agenda or something that like to push or to back it up with or really anything out there. It just kind of puts you right in the middle of everything. Like it's not really like a Christian RPG, but it's also not like the worldly RPG. So it's like you don't have anything, I guess, really back going one way or the other, which makes it a
That's
little
what I
bit
was saying. Yeah, about
Well,
mechanics.
how do you define a Christian RPG then?
And that's very broad, and that's where you can get into all kinds of different arguments with people, which I've been in. And I've not tried to argue, but they sometimes still turn into them. Because we get into the same thing with Christian game designer. Are you designing Christian games, or are you a Christian that designs games? And that's fine either way, as long as you know which one you are. To me, because some people, Christian game really is what I would call Christian friendly game, in the sense that it's just not anti-Christian. It's just not playing it is not, it's avoiding, it's just desecularizing or de-paganizing or whatever you want to call it. It's just getting rid of offensive things is what a lot of people will term as a Christian game. I would just call that a family-friendly game or Christian-friendly game.
Okay, so what's a Christian game? How do you define a Christian game?
I would define it as that it assumes, number one, if they're assuming God is in it, because that kind of has to happen. But again, there might be some edge case that there's some that's God's real, and that's applicable to the game in some way, shape, or form, or even if it's just an assumption in the the backstory or the lore. It's just an assumption. And then it's for me, I feel like it should encourage, or it should not necessarily encourage the practice of Christian things, but when you're playing, you're dwelling on and you're encountering biblical concepts or things that draw you closer to God, where your faith is in some way, shape, or form actively involved in and intermixed with the playing of the game. And so you're not just playing a game, you're also, your fun is added, the faith is added into the fun in some way, shape, or form. That can be very loose in how that would happen. That's where you can get into definite broadness. But I think it needs to be there. Otherwise, you're just making so it sounds to me, let's put it in application. It sounds to me like your sessions, you run them through the way you GM them as Christian, what I would call a Christian game. But your system isn't a Christian game system. That's what I'm hearing from your description.
Okay, that's interesting.
Because
Yes, I
I
think
could
that's
take
right.
that, if I could take that without breaking the rules of it, without going against homebrewing it. If I could take your game and I could make it Grand Theft Auto, for example, without skewing or undoing or breaking or homebrewing it, your rules or the world or whatever's in it, then I would say that's not a Christian game.
Okay. So what I need to do is actually have mechanical consequences to bad actions. I need to actually have put into the game or the setting or something like that. If you do bad things, there will be a cost to you, or there will be a result that goes on that kind of not prevents you maybe, but guards against you doing bad things.
I don't
Would
think
that
that.
be more Christian?
Well, not necessarily. I don't think that may be that's one way. That's one way, but when I've seen that kind of thing happen, I've seen it judged harshly or reacted to negatively by Christians and
Mhm.
non-Christians alike. Um, so I don't know if it's
Mhm.
the right answer, but it is a possible answer. But it might be a setting answer in the sense of, okay, so you want it to be a real world, not fantasy. So like, why couldn't it be like, this is tongue in cheek, but yet
Yeah,
also
yeah, yeah,
true.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Why
No worries.
couldn't it be like Flying House or Superbook, where it doesn't have to be biblical things, but you can time travel in our own world, and now, or maybe like a quantum leap kind of thing, where you're actually a person in a different time. You're not maybe hijacking somebody's body. That gets weird.
Hmm.
But you know what I mean? Like maybe
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
set in
yeah.
a setting, and so that way it ties it to our Earth and limits it from being fantasy, unless they want to do like some sci-fi spacey thing, which whatever, you know.
Mm,
But it keeps it, outside of the magic realm and all that kind of stuff you're talking about.
mm,
It keeps them being. It communicates that they're going to be in a different circumstance than they are usually in as a human, as a person, the player is. They're going
mm,
to get a different experience. It doesn't
mm,
limit the experience so much, though,
mm,
except within our own world,
mm.
And then if the mechanics could just, I don't know. I mean, like if you themed it, that's where you could Christiany it. But again, what keeps it from becoming Grand Theft Auto now in ancient Rome? You know,
Mhm.
and that's where you gotta, you could do it, just imply it, really, with the visuals and the way you express things. You'd have to think and talk about ways to go about that. But I don't think I think that the consequences should, if there's known consequences,
Well, there are consequences.
there are
That's what I
consequences,
was
but if
saying. There are
what those
always consequences
consequences
for your
are
actions.
known in advance, now you have the kid saying, this situation, I want to do this thing, but I know if I do this thing, here's the consequence. That kid that got into the cookie jar gets whooped with the chocolate all over their mouth and says, but it was worth it in their mind.
Hmm.
So you want to avoid that. I love that you'd want to keep it where the GM can apply those things, can apply those consequences as the story would, how it would in the story, organically instead of mechanically.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm kind of trying to do, is not to have mechanical consequences, but to have them
Right. You shouldn't.
as a
I don't think.
narrative aspect. Yeah, but that does depend on the GM very much so. So that does depend on, and this is one of the issues with dealing with ethical issues, is that so one of the things that someone suggested was having a corruption tracker, or a kind of a sin meter, or whatever you want to call it, where if you make bad decisions, then your sin meter fills up, and you can't do you can't hear from God as much as you could before, or you can't you know ask for miracles or anything like that you could before. And I thought about that, and I thought, yeah, it's a interesting idea in terms of mechanically, trying to keep people from making sort of bad decisions. But
You
the
wouldn't
issue
be
is
the
that you're
first
going to have
person to
to have.
do it. I'll
No,
say that.
exactly. I know it's not
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
the
an
first
original idea,
go-to.
and
I've
that's
dealt
fine.
with a lot of game designers. That's their first go-to is,
Yeah,
we're going to
but
have this corruption, and even secular games have it.
yeah, yeah,
RPG.
yeah.
There's a
That's
lot
right.
that have
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, go
There's
ahead.
I can't remember it, but there is one with a corruption tracker. But yeah, but the thing is that I can see that devolving into a big ethical discussion about, well, that wasn't really bad, or we
Yeah,
did that was actually good, and that was all right, and that helped that person, even though it was a bad thing to do at the time. It was good and consequences, blah blah, blah, and all that sort of stuff. And
yes,
maybe for
I'm with
some
you.
groups, that's good. That's what they really want to do. That's how they have fun, and that's great. If they want to do that. But if you're having that mechanical idea that say, well, in every situation, every because you've got nuances of different things as well on how to do that. And I don't want that to be a mechanical thing to sort of determine everything. Because the other thing is that people don't do good because they want to. They do good because it's mechanically beneficial. I'm only doing this good thing because I get,
Or
points out of it.
yeah, or they want to feel like a hero,
Exactly.
which is
Exactly. And so they know that, if I do this thing, I'll be able to be perceived as being good, or I'll be able to be I'll play the hero I'll have the spotlight in the situation. And I don't know. I don't like that. Maybe there is a theological argument for that. There is actually a theological argument that you're doing good because you get rewarded in heaven. I don't think it's probably should be our main motivation. But that's one of the reasons why I didn't do it. But the other reason is because it's so difficult to have all these edge cases and discuss all these edge cases all the time about how do you do in this situation, what do you do in this. And to me, the aim of the game is to get people to be able to make their decisions in a way that, one of my experiences has been, and again, this is because I haven't played with many actors. I've played with mostly normal people. Sorry. Not normal people. I don't mean normal people. I mean actors. Actors are normal people, but I haven't played with a lot of role players. I've played mostly with just guys from my church, and there's very little distinction between their characters and them as players.
Okay.
They don't make they don't make different characters from who they are. So a lot of the decisions they're making in the game are decisions that they would make. Can I give you guys an example? Let me give you guys an example. So imagine that you are driving along. I've done this before. You may have seen on my videos. You're driving along at night. It's pitch black. It's raining. It's a stormy night. And you're driving along in your car. You're on your own and you are lost. You're in a part of the city you don't know. You look at your phone and you have no signal. So you don't have access to maps. You can't call anyone. There's nothing. You're just driving around. Now, you know that you are in a part of the city that is very crime-ridden. It's very rundown, and there's a lot of reputation for crime happening in the city all the time. Though you also know for a fact that in this part of the city, there are people who will pretend to be injured on the side of the road. When the car stops to try and help them, they will come up and sort of pull a gun or a knife or something and then steal the car. So you know that for a fact because you've seen it on the news. As you're driving along, you can see where this is going. As you're driving along, raining, no phone signal, on your own, you see on the side of the road a man. He's got blood on his shirt. He's holding his right hand behind his back, and he's gesturing for you to come and pull over, and he looks very injured. What do you want to do?
drive out of the area.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's what I would do as a person.
Yep.
I would drive
What
out
would
of
you
the
do?
area, and yeah,
You wouldn't look back, and you'd put it out of your mind?
I would drive out of the area into a place that has more like. This is me as a person, obviously. Not as a role playing character. I would drive out of the area to what would look more like a safer area or something, and then try and work out how much like how far I got from the guy that I last saw. So that guy, and tell somebody like the police, where it was that I saw him, so I can send the cops after him to look after him. But I wouldn't go to him. That's what I would do.
Okay. What would you guys do? Would you stop and see if he was okay?
No, I'd very much do the
drive
same
past?
thing. Like exactly, especially if I'm by myself, I would, especially if I'm by myself, I would go and I would call the police. Call call probably the police, who could dispatch whichever way they wanted. I don't know how it is where you are, but they 911 or whatever. If they seem to,
Yeah, same. Yep.
Yeah.
Simple.
Well, you also can't call the police because your phone doesn't work.
Oh, that's right. You
Well, your
said the
phone doesn't
phone
work at the time.
Okay,
No.
okay. I forgot you said that. That's all right. I'm still preparing for this game at the same time.
Oh, sorry.
No. That's okay. It's my fault. So, or try to, try to contact somebody, or get some extra person, some other person, so that I'm not by myself. That's the big thing.
Mhm.
But again, though, here's what I hear. Well, I'll let Phil answer, and then I want to respond.
Well, I do feel like, kind of back to what you were saying before, there is the notion of incentives and stuff too. I do feel like if you don't have, you kind of have to have some of these things fleshed out a little bit too. But again, it would come down to the fact that you see someone injured. Now, obviously, you have the knowledge that this kind of stuff probably happens normally, but there's also the notion of that. What if, say, that was you? Somebody like hijacked your car or they attacked you or whatever, right? Now you were wounded, kind of walking down the street, and you needed help, and someone was there. That person, it's like, how would you want to be treated ultimately too? So it's like, puts yourself into, like, there's multi layers of like morality, into your question. So you don't help that person. It's kind of like, like one day it's going to be you and no one's going to come help you either. And I think you have to accept the fact in your mind, which, I mean, I think most normal people, if you were to drive off in your mind, you are being evil. That's an evil thing to do. Now, you could rationalize and accept that, but that's a very evil thing to do, is just leave someone abandoned, their time in need. Now, again, and it's just, I think it's just the truth. I mean, I think most people would do it.
Sure. So what would
But
you do?
but it is an evil thing to do at the same exact time.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just saying, if you
What
want
would
to
you
call
do?
me evil for that, first of all, I won't call Grace that, because and this is the point of his game, I think. But Grace,
well, no, okay. Here's the thing. I'm not calling you that. I'm just saying
Grace,
you have to
I
accept the
would
fact in
definitely
your
not want
mind
her to do it. I would not want
your
a
action.
lady to do that. Number one, I would not want a lady to do that. But you could also say, like I said, it had, this stuff happens, so I'm not driving away. I'm looking for another person to help with me. So, but I have a family, and so I don't know about my character in the game, but it would be just as it would be irresponsible of me to put myself in risk when my family needs and relies on me as the provider and everything else. So you could call that evil if you want. I'd call that smart and responsible. And if I just drove off, said, well, somebody else will take care of it, that is the part where we're crossing the line. But I think this is the point of his game, is to cause
This is
these
exactly the
discussions.
point of my game. Yeah. Because sorry, Phil. So what would you do? Would you stop?
That's a good question. I don't know. Again, I'm not in the situation, right? I don't know, right? I mean, I think also one of the things here, Greg, that you did, which could be bad for your game technically too, is you gave somebody else, like, because if you want this to be more neutral, right? Like, you already kind of gave out the fact that, like, people kind of fake do this, right? You know, people kind of fake do this. So
Yeah,
now already I have in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, I'm just not going to stop this person because I know that this kind of happens normally. Now my conscience is clear. So I don't have to stop this person because it probably is fake anyways. So I already have the means I can just kind of get off. I can get off the hook really ezy because you kind of set it up so that it's easy for me to justify my action. Versus if you didn't give someone that information, now it's like, you know what I mean? Like, now it's like you kind of set the moral tone, kind of how you set it up.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.
because, like, again, like, if I know that I probably am going to get, like, my car jacked or something that happened to me, like, I'm just not going to stop because that's just, it's just stupid, it's blatantly. But but like, no, like, in a normal circumstance, if I saw someone, like, severely injured or some bad thing happened, I mean, I would think that I would want to do something, one way or the other. I'd want to do something. So it's like, but yeah, I don't know. These are good questions, right?
I think so. My point before this is exactly what Anthony's saying, is that, yeah, this is the point of the game. Now, this obviously, as you guys realize, is straight out of the Bible. This is the story of the Good Samaritan. This is essentially what was going on between the road to Jericho and Jerusalem. The road was basically full of robbers, bandits who basically mug the guy in the Good Samaritan story, and they would often sit and pretend to be wounded on the side of the road, hoping that travelers would stop and see if they're okay, and then they would actually jump them. And that's one of the reasons why people didn't stop in the story, and people saw it was fine. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't stop, you're bad. What I'm saying is that, okay, whether you stop or whether you don't, there's going to be consequences to your actions. Okay,
And
if you stop,
here's
there's
the other side of it, though. I get what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah,
The other side of that is, and now we're getting technical, but that's exactly what Phil was
yeah, sure,
pointing out, is we're getting
yep,
technical. Getting
yep,
technical is that man was left for dead, and he was not. I mean, now we have makeup. Sure, I'm sure we could fake it, but he was clearly wounded.
hmm
And it would have. I don't think it would have been obvious he wasn't just faking. You know what I mean?
hmm
Or a lot more obvious. And so I don't know
hmm
if you described it that way and I missed it, but you know, because if somebody's bleeding out, that's a little different than like there's a
True. Well,
pool
you
of
don't know
blood
this
behind.
guy was bleeding out or not if you don't
That's what I'm
stop and actually
saying.
have a look.
So that's
Yeah.
it. I mean, I need to ask those questions, maybe.
Well, that's true. That's exactly right. And whatever your decisions are in the situation, that's the information you'll get in the situation as well.
Okay.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are no necessarily good or bad decisions in this situation. It's I'm not judging you to stop. I'm not judging you to go. I'm not judging you to
Yeah.
help them out. I'm not judging you whatever. But whatever you do, there's going to be consequences in terms of your actions of whatever happens. There's going to be consequences in terms of, how the guy reacts. Was he actually wounded or was he actually not wounded? You don't know unless you actually stop and see. What happens if the police gets there, all that sort of stuff. So
And
I
so the
guess what my
question is,
point
though,
is that.
go ahead.
Sorry.
No, well, go ahead. Finish your statement. Your
Sorry.
thought.
So I guess going back to what I was saying before is that this is one of the reasons why I don't want to have a sin meter or a corruption meter or whatever it is, because exactly there are these nuances in the issue where everybody will look at their actions and be able to justify them. Everyone has a tendency to do that and look at their sort of behavior and say, well, no, I did this for exactly the right reasons and exactly the right situation, which is true, which is good. And be able
Ah,
to do that sort of stuff. I think one of the issues is that we need to be able to uh, understand the consequences of our decisions going forward and be able to do that. And I think that's essentially what I'm trying to do. I don't want people to sort of thinking, well, I'm okay in doing that sort of stuff, and then that's it. It just finishes there. I think there's still consequences in terms of what you're doing.
So,
Anyway,
okay.
that's my rant. I don't know.
So me going on with this then, looking at it practically, what you've done is now would this be an event that happens with a party that
Probably
there's
yes.
you see what I'm
So you'd
saying?
probably
So
all be in the car and you'd probably be able to discuss it with yourself. What do you want to do? So the reason I've just done this on your own is because I'm using it as an individual point in
yeah,
terms
yeah,
of moral consequences of moral decisions.
yeah,
Now, in a situation, yes, you might have, in your character, you might have insight into the situation. You might be able to roll for a word of knowledge about the situation. You might be able to roll for insight into whether the guy's injured or not, and depending on your role, you might get some more information about that.
right,
You
right.
might obviously get
See,
more information if
very
you
good,
stop
very good.
and talk to them. So it's not just you, but your character's also got other aspects that you can apply to the situation. You're not playing you're not playing as you. One of the issues I'm having with guys from the church is that they are they're essentially playing as themselves, which is fine because their
Which I think
decisions are
most people
exactly
will,
what's happening
honestly.
now. Well, I know exactly. And that's the thing. If I'm trying to sell this to people, I want my market to be bigger than just gamers. I want my market to be able to be, well, this is something we're actually being able to discuss issues that might be going on and not just
See,
fantasy
I
world
think that's
issues.
what I was going to get to. Then I'll go ahead and butt in. That's what I
Yeah,
was
go on.
going to get to. I don't think your market is gamer
No, well, exactly.
at all. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think it should be marketed as because okay, so a game is something that people do for entertainment
And this is not
because it's
entertaining.
fun. And what you're describing is not fun or entertaining, but it is
Oh, great.
beneficial.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to
Good
get
to
together
know.
with my friends because pulling this game out is going to start an argument with us and
Yeah.
not bring us closer together. It's not going to bring
Well,
down barrier.
Greg,
It's
I
going to
think although
benefit us. Go ahead.
Well, one of the other problems I think you have, which I mean, it's not that your game, I mean, like you personally are really interesting. You're probably one of the most interesting person in our group, right? And like your game is cool, but like for example,
Thanks.
like you can't like you don't have superpowers. You can't even like really fight through a situation. So what if you're in an ethical situation? Like
Yeah, you
what are
can.
you gonna? You can't like do
Why
anything
can't you
necessarily
fight?
about it. Like well, it's like
Like,
it's like
I got to
I don't
check
know.
with my kids. I might be hopping off here. If I clip
oh, sorry.
off,
Yeah.
it's because I need to go. No, I
All
mean
right.
I just need to
Thank you for
play
talking. It's
before I
been
go to
really,
sleep.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really
Thanks
9
for
p.m.
showing up.
here, so I would
Oh, yeah.
love to talk
yeah.
to
No,
you guys
appreciate it.
more about this stuff. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Well, I guess
You can fight if you want to. I mean, there's nothing stopping you from fighting. If somebody attacks you, you're defending yourself and you're fighting them.
yeah. I know. I'm not. Again, I'm just saying like the difference. I think like kind of like even with like a most like the traditional like the RPG kind of system is like you have like a class or you have a certain combat skills or you're able to like kind of like maybe like might equals right a little bit. Like, if you wanted to do the right thing, for example, you would have the ability to like kind of make it happen, I guess. Versus like I'm not, and that's just like kind of like that's more like the way most normal I guess RPGs are kind of built. But like yours is a little bit different, right? I'm not saying it's bad. I
Mm.
mean it's interesting. I'm just saying it's like I think that's like one of the main premises that most I think a lot of people like about RPG games is that they can kind of like make whatever they would want happen ultimately, I guess. Or they have
Yep.
there's like that's like the fantasy or like the thrill of it is that you get to like somehow influence or do something with your actions. But with
Mhm.
using some type of ability or something to make it happen or back it up with
Yeah.
versus yours is yours is much more like it's very almost like realistic a lot.
Yeah.
Which is
One of the
definitely
things
really
that
yeah.
really different. Yeah. Um, One of the things I do struggle with in terms of this is exactly what Antonius was saying is a lot of people play games because it's escapist because they want to be heroic and they want to be able to kill the bad guy and whip out a sword and do this sort of stuff like that. And I guess in terms of my situation, then how do I do that? How do I enable that to happen? And I think it's possible to do that. And have the other thing at the same time. You can still have that sort of, yes, you can still be heroic and you can still do heroic deeds. You don't have to sit around having moral discussions about everything. You might have a situation where it's very clear what you need to do and you just basically need to get it done. So I guess it depends on the story as well.
Yeah, see, like if my character and their party were in the exact same situation, I can do the total opposite. I can look, there's one guy with blood on his shirt. Yes, maybe our phone is not working. I don't know why all of our phones will not be working.
Well, you're not getting
Maybe
any
this is
signal.
yeah.
The signals,
Okay.
you can't get signal. Yeah.
But I could just look at our party and be like, okay, how many of us are there? And assess the risk a bit more maybe. And
Mhm.
if I was playing a guy, again, different story. Antonius is right.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Then yeah, but then I could also be like, actually, why is he holding his right hand behind his back?
Mm.
I don't know, but is my character going to stop and question that? Or are they just going to run out and wait for the party to back him up, for example? And
Mhm.
and yes, maybe I am a bit of an escapist, but playing somebody else
Mhm.
who I am not in real life can allow me to take bigger swings
Mhm.
narratively. I don't know. Um,
Mhm.
than than I would normally in real life. And
Yeah.
that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
I
then,
totally agree. I totally agree.
if my one character is jumped on by, I don't know, four others, as well as this guy with the blood on his shirt, then that's that's fine that'd be fine by me. I'll be interested in seeing what the rest of the party does.
Whether they
If
sit
they're
back
just
and
leaving
watch,
there, but you know. But
drive
the
away.
thing is that, but the thing is that, you went with this that that we're alone. So even though there
Mhm.
were 3 of us that you asked, we are all alone in the scenario. And yes, you said, yeah, sure, this is a good Samaritan, but he was alone, wasn't he? Was there any indication of that he was with anybody else?
The
Actually,
guy got
there isn't, is
attacked.
there? So,
In the Good Samaritan, the guy got attacked was alone, and the 3 people who passed him by, or 2 people, I think, who passed him by, were alone at the time. So
yeah. So, but that yes, there's another thing about role playing games.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
The teamwork
that's true. Yeah.
or the
It
teamwork that
is
you
different in different situations,
would
and how
normally
your
expect.
decisions would be in different situations as well. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing. There's strength in numbers, and most people are willing to be more heroic if they've got people with them. If they've got, and that's the thing. Also in D&D or something like that, you've got, you're used to that sort of thing happening. If you get jumped by a group of creatures, then I've got a sword, shield, armor. It's combat based, and that's the thing as well. I guess also in my game, I'm happy. I don't mind there being combat. One of the interesting things, and I don't know why this is, I've spent all this time making this combat system, and people hardly ever use it. At least the guys I've been playing with have been more likely to try and talk their way out of a situation and try and have negotiations rather than have a combat, which has been really annoying. I don't know why that is. But I actually had to do a special game to say, oh look, you've been mugged in the street corner, so you've got to fight your way out, because I wanted to test the combat system. I don't know why that happened. But yeah.
Okay. I think
Anyway.
you should watch Seth Bokowski's video.
Oh yeah. He does
Have you?
reviews of Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah,
Yep.
but not just that. He also did stuff about learning a new RPG system, and one of the things was like he would get his friend, and they would just go at it
And
with
actually try and fight each other. Yeah, because that's
like
the
to
thing.
test and
Majority
play
of
test.
RPGs are combat systems with everything else kind
Yeah.
of.
Oh yeah. I'll bring this
bolted
point up
onto
to
it.
them. So, and I'm sure you guys all heard of this guy. Maybe you've all played his game. That was called Storytelling Ron, for example. I think you
Oh
guys
yeah,
at least know about it.
yeah. For the Lord.
So
Yeah.
one of the fun things one of the cool things I think, I mean, his pros and cons, right? But one of the cool things that he does is like he promotes the idea of not just blatant combat, but like I guess like church planning, for example, kind of shifting the focus of like your your dopamine. Like a lot of people get their dopamine from like fight and stuff, right? That's like like really cool, big like video games. I want to fight some dude, but like kind of like getting your dopamine from like doing some other productive task that's not combat. So like building a church or planting a church somewhere, and like for example, it's like maybe a little bit less combat. I mean, there might be some combat to it, but it's like you're working together for some purpose that you can role play, like trying to preach the gospel or something. Like so that's a cool idea. Something I've wanted to do more in my game. I kind of like the only closest thing I think in my game is I kind of like give characters a chance to like offer redemption, I guess, to a person. That's kind of something I've done. I'm trying to do more. I got to figure out what that even is in the first place, or even how to do it. But that's like for like kind of what you were talking about, like okay.
So, all right, I'm back for a second. And I've
Come
been
back.
listening to some. I didn't get to hear everything. I had to go away for a little bit. But the if you're going to make it its own game, you have to ask what will be the motivation to keep playing it. So the way most RPGs have, is there's a progression system. There is something that the thing is, when you come back, you're going to be better than you were last time you were there. That's one of the things that really keeps that keeps a large portion of the audience of audience of of the potential audience there. So what you're going to if you don't have that, you'll miss that large segment of players. Um, and so one option is to go full the other way and just say, hey, look, I'm going to market this as almost like similar to a party game, but not like, I'm saying, like you'd play it in a situation, but like a small group leader or something would pull a scenario out, like pull a card out that has this scenario, and they'd run the group through one scenario, and it'd be scenario based. You see what I'm saying? And then it would just stimulate the conversation and do what you're trying to do, because at that point it's almost like running a fire drill or an emergency drill at a workplace, where, okay, all the real point is that I'm just trying to get it so that when you encounter a situation like this in real life, you're trained to put more thought into it, and may have even encountered, if in the game, a situation similar enough that you've already kind of put thought into that kind of thing, so that you're going to be thoughtful about your actions and not just reactionary in your actions. If so, that could be the way you market it. Is this just, this is something that like people that already have an existing group could do as part of what, you know what I mean? And not, we get together to do this thing,
Well, like, I could maybe add on a little bit on Tony was saying. Like, you also could even you kind of like the same idea. You could even like make a book, or like supplement books of like selling these ideas that you could add to RPGs that pre-exist, and then you could throw a scenario, kind of like this moral situation, into a already existing game, I guess. And then I don't know, you could find a way to
that's what I was going. Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say is, like, I could use your help. You could benefit my game when it comes time to actually writing published adventures, where yes, my characters are not going to find themselves in this situation, but in our case, the human that you're watching over would find themselves in these kind of situations. And so
you're saying I could kind of market it as sort of like a teaching tool. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I should have thought of that. Yeah.
So that's what I was saying before, yes. And then also with what Phil was saying, you could use it to add into other people's, like, it could be something that supplements existing systems. I don't know that it's something that you, at this point, that you need your own system to do. There would be situations where the answer is, you could easily come up with these situations where the answer isn't always fight. And let me say, from my own personal experience with Allies of Majesty as a youth pastor, is that even if the situation happens where the person behaves well because they're in a game and because they're expected to, because they're role-playing angels in my case, it's still, just to encourage you, it still has produced positive character and behavioral change in those people, because the real benefit comes from, well, partly what I said to you earlier about thinking, having thought about, being thoughtful, but then secondly, walking something out and then getting the social reward for it. So one of the things that we do, or did as a youth pastor anyway, especially, is after the game session, we would have discussion where we talk about, we have an opportunity to talk about each player's character and how they played, or choices they made, or ways that they were, praise and challenges. And we were praising and challenging each player, and the GM running the game. And two brief anecdotes. One's longer, one's very short. The one's longer than the other. The senior pastor, his two sons were always playing this game. And he came to me one point, though, and said, "What have you been teaching in the youth group?" And I thought I was in trouble, because that's usually how that would start. I said, what
Mhm.
do you mean? And he said, well, Michael, his youngest son, he says, he's been asking or talking to his mom and I before he does things and consulting us. And like, how did you do this? You know? And in the game, he was often his character, because when the guys that are into the more tactical things are talking about how we're going to approach this situation tactically, he would get bored and his character would wander off and sometimes ruin the surprise or get into trouble or cause more problems. And the in the feedback, the time portion, the discussion portion, the his peers would say, Michael, I know this isn't the part of the game that you love. It's not as fun for you and whatever. When we're doing that, if you're going to go off and do something, we're not saying you can't do it, but at least just talk to us first and tell us what you're going to do before, so we know how to respond to that, or maybe we can encourage you not to, or whatever. We can think through what you're going to do, because it's causing problems when you just go off and do something. And he started changing that in the game, and apparently that spilled over into his real life. And then also, though, I witnessed, like at the youth group or something, and one of the kids' moms came and said, "Hey, it's time to go," or something like that. Said something that he reacted not well to, like he didn't want to quit now or whatever. And then he kind of snapped, and one of the kids, like an actual peer, said, do you think you were kind of short with your mom there? After she left, he's like, yeah, you're right. And he went and apologized to her. And, it's like, so it got them, the discussion got them also comfortable with confronting one another about something that may not be positive, as well as accepting it and responding well to it. So, yeah, anyway, but all this came from, yeah, go ahead.
Totally agree. I totally agree. I mean, so I'm an ex-teacher. We used to do a lot of talking about communication skills and things like that. We used to do a lot of role playing in class. We used to do a lot of this stuff to actually practice, what does this actually look like, and all of that sort of stuff. And I guess, and that's one of the things that, as I said before, has prompted this sort of putting the game together in this situation, is that we don't seem to do a lot of that in church very much. We don't do a lot of that sort of, we want to know what the right answer is. And so we want to know what the actual, what did God say was the right answer? So we tell Bible stories about what the right answer is, and then God did it, and then we go, yay, fantastic. But we don't really have practice in those situations until they actually happen in real life. So we don't have a lot of, what would you do in that situation? How could you handle that situation better? What would you do in that sort of situation? So that's one of the reasons, as you're saying. And I think, yeah, exactly what's happening with that guy, I think that's one of the reasons why I think, simulations and these sort of role playing and stuff like that, any of these games is really valuable for that reason, because it teaches people how to get along, teaches people how to work together as groups, teaches people how to do that sort of stuff. It's a pity, really, as Christians, that we don't do more of that. We have this very negative view of these games, and we don't do them very much because they're games, and B, because we see them as satanic for some reason, or we see them as negatively demonic or something like that. Which is a shame. And what you guys are saying is true. So I've used some of these situations in Bible studies. I've used some of these situations in talking about, in a church dynamic situation, this person wants this and this person wants that. This person thinks they've heard from God. This person thinks they've heard something different from God. How do you resolve that situation? Both of them are adamant they're correct. And so there's these situations here you can bring about. Going right. Sorry, I'm slightly changing the subject, but going right back to our earlier conversation about money and about selling things, I'm more than happy to, if this is a book that can be sold as a system of simulation for people that doesn't have magic and it doesn't have demons, it doesn't have things like that, and all the situations are lifelike and all the situations are, I'm more than happy to sell that, or sorry, give that away, and then produce a number of situations that people can use in Bible studies, or people can use in youth groups, or people can use. Have a character, have a situation where you work together, have a situation where you've got an objective that you've got to reach, and then you've got situations that you have to negotiate through, or fight through, or do whatever you need to do, and the DM, the storyteller, won't judge you for them, but there will be consequences for your actions. So you're actually learning all of those things as you go along. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. I think it's really valuable stuff. And
And
I
I
think one of
think
the issues,
you would
obviously, with
hit
money. Oh,
non-gamers.
sorry, I'm going off. Yeah.
I think you would hit non-gamers with it too. I think that
Well,
your
that's exactly
audience
right.
then
Yeah.
will get these benefits that RPG players already, many
Yeah.
already kind of
Hopefully.
experience, and maybe not as many as they could, and not all
Yeah.
of them, all the groups
Yes.
facilitate. But I'm saying, take those benefits that RPG players are at least aware of to some degree,
Mhm.
and get them in
Mhm.
the hands of people that, like you said, the people that wouldn't play one of these games,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
they will do this if it's repackaged in a different format or different
Exactly.
explanation.
Exactly.
They're role
Yeah.
playing and don't realize that they're playing a role playing game. They're playing
Yeah.
a role playing game,
Exactly.
but they didn't realize it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I 100%. I
Mm.
think that's wonderful. I think that's needed, and
Mm.
Anyway,
So yeah, but I agree with
Okay.
what you guys are saying, and I know that some people, the last thing they want is an evening of discussing, ethical decisions. That's not a fun game. That's like an argument, and I get that. In that case, don't do that. Like, have a different situation where the objective is very clear. You've just got to go and get rid of this person, or negotiate, or do whatever it is. I don't know, whatever you want to do, but don't have the ethical issue involved. Just have a situation where you're practicing these skills, and using your character for that, and realizing that in a game, obviously, you can fail, and failing is good, because failing actually leads you to learn and leads you to grow, which is one of the reasons why I did the whole experience points. When you fail a role, you get experience from it.
and that's what you
Anyway,
can't do in other games. That's what most of that's one thing that Allies of Majesty has going for it that
yeah,
most other RPGs do not, is you do have the ability to fail. I can, as the
exactly.
GM, set people up in a situation that is likely to fail, and not guaranteed. That's not very kind,
Yeah,
but at least that's very likely. And so,
yeah.
if they choose to pursue it, but I mean, if you read my fiction, one of the stories, it's a short poem that's in the anthology, but one of them is about a true to life story that happened with one of my characters, and a time that I
Mm,
was arrogant, and a time that he failed. But in the story, this character is a very, like, there's tiers, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, first, second, third
mm,
heaven. So this is a
mm,
third heaven character that
mm,
is way advanced now, and
mm,
he's a trainer of new watchers that are just coming in and just getting initiated to go in their service, right?
mm,
And
mhm,
he's training them before they go out to Earth, in the Earth level, and do their thing. So
mm,
um, one of his trainees asks him, "Why do you say this certain thing?" And then he goes on to this anecdote of, "Well, this is an early thing when I was like you, not much more advanced than you are now.
mm,
I had this experience, and in my arrogance, I failed this way, and that shaped the rest of my life, or, well, existence. That shaped
mm,
my
mm, mm.
my life moving forward,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so that's why I say this thing." And that's a true story from a true game session, not
yeah,
the what he was sharing was a true story, not that scenario, but the story that he shared was
yeah,
true.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So you're
and I've
learning
seen
from
that
life.
people are shaped more powerfully
Mm,
by failure than by
mm,
success, and I've witnessed it
mm,
over and over and over again in Allies of Majesty.
mm, mm. Yeah. Let me know when your next game is, or when you're setting up, because yeah, I'd be really interested in joining.
Yeah, I'll message you in the Discord.
Yeah,
I'll give you
yeah,
an
yeah,
app
yeah.
mention so we can try and
Great.
get your work done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yep. All right. My wife brought food home, though,
Right.
so I am going to go. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it, you guys. And
Thanks, Antonius. It's been great.
thanks for
Yeah.
inviting
Yes,
me.
thanks for sharing.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks
Thanks
for
for hanging out.
facilitating this and getting us all together.
Mm. Yeah.
Oh, would you guys want to come back and talk again sometime?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, are we finishing up already?
Are you going?
Um.
You going to bed, Phil? It's,
No.
Oh
It's-
yes. How late is it for you?
it's 11:30
it's
here
eight-
in Australia.
it's
In the morning.
8:30.
Not at night. In the morning. Yeah.
No. Well, I guess the question is, how much longer would you guys want to talk, or what do you want to do?
I'm probably gonna have
I
lunch
can
in about half an
continue.
hour.
Yes, I think we should stop for lunch.
Maybe about half an hour.
Okay.
That's
Yeah. I don't know. I might need to get going here though. But
Oh yeah, no worries.
or at least I probably got to use the restroom here once quick. Otherwise.
Oh sure.
Um.
That's all right.
But
Thank you so much.
yeah. Oh yeah. I guess one other thing I just wanted to mention. I guess so. I know, Grace, about the question you asked about artificial intelligence, for example. So do you want to talk about that
Okay.
at all?
Yes, I would like to. Are you going to the loo and coming back, or what?
Yeah. Why don't we just give me like a couple minutes. I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Okay.
We won't talk about you while you're gone. Don't worry.
Oh yeah. I expect you to. Okay, I'll be back in like a couple minutes.
Okay then. We will.
Greg.
So that's Phil. He's a cool guy, isn't he? He's great. He's cool.
Pretty sporting.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, Greg, for you, I want to tell you
Grace.
about there is this system called Heroes of Providence Eternal.
Okay.
The characters are pretty heroic. They're not all human,
I hope so.
but I think the most interesting thing, well, it's another of the Christian RPGs that I found. It's just a single D6 system. This what I
I'm
want
just
to tell
looking.
you about
Yep.
is the
Yep.
maps.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you go to heroesofprovidenceeternal.com/maps, they are publishing maps like every week or something. And they're really good.
Oh,
Somebody is making maps for them. I don't know if they're
adventure
paid or
maps.
not, but I have been
Oh,
downloading.
these are all isographic maps.
That's
I'm
not the
just
kind of
looking.
maps you're after?
No. I don't mind. I don't care if they're good maps. They're good maps. I'm not a mappist. I'm not. So I've
So,
tried to. Let me tell you. So far, I have tried to generate maps on AI on using Copilot, and I've been very, very not liking them. Very unimpressed with them.
okay.
They are not exactly like this, but they're similar to this in the sense that they're isometric. Isometric.
Okay.
Isographic. Isometric. I think it's isometric.
Not okay.
But they are not. So, geez, they're not as detailed as this is. I'll tell you what that is. But yes, I've been struggling to try to make better maps according to what I want. Because the other issue with
Alright.
AI is that, I
Oh,
mean,
there's
it's
so many issues with AI.
so many issues, but you put in a prompt and
Tell
it just
me,
doesn't.
what kind
Come
of
out the way
map
you
are
want it
you
to.
actually after then?
So, most of my games aren't that map centric. Most of my games are much
Yep.
more about going around and finding things and stuff like that. And I'm finding often if you're very combat heavy, I think a lot of games often depend on maps when they're combat heavy because you're looking at moving around a space and doing all this sort of stuff. And but the game I want to run with you guys is like an Indiana Jones kind of search for the lost emerald kind of game. So that involves going into a cave in a volcano, and so I want to try to create a map which is a cave system with tunnels and stuff like that, and probably
Okay.
large maps of each room. There's only about, I won't tell you how many rooms. There's a few rooms.
Yeah. No, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
Yeah.
If you want me to play, don't tell me. That's
I won't. Yes, I
that's
do.
perfect.
I do. I do. I won't.
Okay, great. Yeah,
Did I
don't tell
say
me.
Indiana Jones? Did I say Indiana Jones? I meant in Indianapolis Smith. Anyway, So I'm looking at trying to make maps probably like the first. Oh, I'm looking at the maps page. Sorry. I mean, there's some of them here that
Yeah.
are really good.
Yeah.
That
So a cave.
the
A
insect
cave with
entourage
lots of
map's
different
cool.
rooms. Yeah.
The thing
That's
is, though, that
yeah.
the isometric one, I don't know if they'd be really good for combat. I don't know.
Okay. Well.
No, but there are other good ones here as well. So the Desert Sultans ones looks good.
Yeah. So I'm just telling you about this resource.
Yeah, no, it looks cool.
And there are already maps that already exist that you can use.
Yeah, well, maybe
Otherwise,
I should.
you have seen what I drew in Roll20. And that was you can use that. Roll20 also has some maps supplied, I think, in one of the resource packs.
Okay.
So
Maybe I
if
should just
you are needing
adapt
to
the story.
if you're
That's a
needing
good
to
idea.
it to scale to something,
Yeah.
then that's
Yeah, well, yeah.
then you
So
can
maybe I
already
should, rather than drawing my own, I should just find a similar
So
one and just
unless
have
you're
it as
looking
that.
for unless you want to make it very specific to what you have in mind,
Yeah, true.
there's always
And I
I
could
think
always
that's
just edit it, edit it. Like I could put it on Photoshop or something and just move stuff around and that sort of stuff. Possibility.
so just look for
Those are
like
good ideas.
free map, free cave system map. I'm sure
Yeah.
it already exists.
Yeah. No, I'll have a look through. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
But yeah, we've
Oh,
done. You're back.
the other thing I hate about Phil is, oh, he's back. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Phil, good to see you.
Yeah.
No,
We were just not talking about you at all. Sorry. We were talking
we
about
weren't. We
maps.
were
Oh,
actually talking. We were talking about maps and discussing where to get them from. Basically,
Yes.
looking on the internet for what already
Doing
exists.
a map search.
Avoiding AI, actually.
Yeah. Darn
Yeah.
you, AI.
Oh my goodness, AI.
I always make all these ethical. I should write that book about this. Although all
Yes,
the,
do
all
an
the stuff
AI.
that
I did one actually. I
I
did
need
a
you
game.
you're my
I
consultant.
did.
And, yeah, pay you
I
the
did do a
consultant
game with
fee
the
and
guys from church. I did do a game with the guys in church about someone like they were in an IT. Their characters were IT consultants, and it wasn't any technical stuff, but the story was this this engineer had created an AI that could predict the future with 100% accuracy. So it was an AI that would predict exactly what was going to happen. Whatever you asked it, it would predict exactly what's going to happen. Which obviously, yes, I know that's like doesn't make sense, and I know that defies the laws of physics, and I understand all that. But and putting aside the law breaking, physical law breaking aspect of it. But eventually, what happens in the game, of course, is that all the people in the office start depending on this AI more and more and more because they're basically seeing it because they're all getting, they're betting on casinos and horses and, the stock market and getting rich and saying, no, you can't get rid of it because it's, our whole company depends on it. So the whole ethical issue of the story was you've got this genie that you're let out of the bottle. How do you put the genie back in the bottle? How do you deal with this situation where suddenly everyone's dependent on this thing that does things? So, and I guess it's very, very unsubtle, but yeah, that was an interesting story. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why. Sorry, I'm starting to rant. It's one of the reasons why I don't want to have a setting is because I want to explore all these stories. I want to explore modern day stories. I want to explore biblical stories. I want to explore future stories. I want to explore stories in history. I want to explore, I want to do a game about, Nazi Germany, where you've got, Jews hanging around Nazi Germany, and should you hide them or should you, what should you do? And I wanted stories about everything. So, yeah, that's my
Mm.
issue. That's my problem. As you do. Anyway,
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill, you want to talk about
Oh
AI?
yeah, I got. Oh yeah. Oh, I was going to say another thing is like, I guess, but like maybe you just need to kind of like market it a little bit more. I guess, or finally just talk about it, put it out there for other people, right? So like that's like, I mean, like for example, like I do kind of like I put them all on like Reddit. Reddit kind of works pretty good. Like a little bit, you could even a little bit on Discord, or like you can go on. I built my first little website thing. I figured out how to build one. It's very beta, but I put some stuff out there, or like WhatsApp, or or it could be that you go to a church or a whole bunch of different churches, or wherever you want to go, or bookstore, something. But you need like to be able to market it in some capacity to some other people, right? So
yeah, well, that's
that's
true. That's true. Yeah.
So if you got some of
Maybe
your
I should-
terms or your labels
I mean,
figured out a little bit more consolidated, you could start putting out there. You could just put it out there. People don't hear about it at least.
yeah.
So,
Well, I'm trying to do a YouTube, and that hasn't necessarily got a lot of traction, but yeah.
oh yeah. Example. Also
that's a good idea.
YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I was mentioning it other day. I was just trying to promote a bunch of other Christian people. I guess. Like I'll put something out for yours too. I can't guarantee they'll do a whole lot, but I'll put something
Yeah,
out there
no,
for you if you want.
I don't expect anything, but thank you for that. We appreciate it.
No, if you put something together for me, I'll put it out there for you. Sure. You can put give me whatever you would want, and I'll put it out there for you. Okay, but
Like
we'll try to go back to topic though. Yeah, so like AI
yes,
for
yeah.
example.
Yep.
So
No worries.
yeah, I guess for me, I don't know. It's always like an ethical question, but like for me, I know I use like AI. I mostly just use it to I guess make pictures and kind of I just put pictures out there. I have it make it. I guess I have it make me some stuff, or have it help me like edit, make it sound look nice. Sometimes I write stuff and then people can't read it and they don't understand what I'm saying. So then I have an AI kind of make a little. I take a picture of stuff I write and then I'm like here I give it to the AI and the AI is like I don't know what you're saying. It doesn't make any sense to me either. And I'm like oh, and then I have to explain all.
That's terrible. That's
I'm
terrible.
satisfied there. I'm satisfied.
No.
That
The AI
no.
itself tells you they can't understand.
No.
What
It's like I don't know what this
you
word means. I
mean?
can't read
I
that
don't
word.
know.
But yeah,
All right.
So I know that I think there's like multiple versions of how AI is used. I know I use it on my little RPG. I guess I generate ideas and stuff. And AI, some people are just very very mad about anything AI, no matter what. And I met a lot of those people. So it's like,
Okay.
and I don't mean to like it's one of those issues where you really can't. There's like an almost no middle ground. Either you have zero or you have some. If you have some, then you have 100% at most people's eyes. So it's it's a hard thing. I've kind of been using it on my channel. I guess I make a bunch of these pictures and I put pictures out there. Some people they're not happy about it, I guess. But so yeah. I guess what I was saying, Grace, I just didn't want you to be like really. I didn't know if I kind of pissed you off a little bit about the fact that I use these pictures and stuff. I know we didn't really know each other that well either. So yeah.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. I can't really be mad at you because we don't really know each other all that well, and we have not really talked all that much either. But I'm not really for AI, and that comes to my reason as to asking why you what was your goal with these role playing games that you're running, whether you wanted to sell anything. Because like if you wanted to sell stuff, I personally I would rather that you don't use AI. But there are a lot of alternatives that you can use. So like and even if you don't know any actual artists, there are things that you can use to make your game look to still make your game look cool. So if you're just making a character, okay, I have found something called Titancraft. So go to titancraft.com. It's like Hero Forge, right? And you can essentially build a character there, and then it also lets you export. This is what it does better than Hero Forge. It lets you export a PNG of your character that you've built. Sure, there might not be as many options as you might get in Hero Forge, but you can export them with no background, and then all you need is a background, or just no background. And then so you've got your character there, and you could make that already. It's just you got that to make a character, to make player character artwork, to make NPC artwork if you want. I should make one for my character to show you, but it looks pretty cool to me there. And then
Do they
so that's
3D
character.
print these?
Then Pythoncraft.com.
Do these get 3D printed?
You can if you want. I
Very
think.
cool.
Yeah. Pretty
Very
cool. And then if you're making cards, see the thing about AI is that even though you are asking it to do, like, I assume similar things, your branding is not going to be consistent, and I can already see that. I can already see that all over the cards that you're making. But if you make them yourself, you can make a template in, I don't know what you have. Do you have Word? Or even if you don't have Word, you can have Google Docs or Google Slides, and then you take your theme from what you've already got, and then you can remake your cards over and over again with the character that you made in Titancraft, and then you can put it in there. Because from this artwork, you can see the tone is quite different, and the three when we had Antonius here as well, because he's got an actual artist, I think, drawing stuff for him. I don't know whether the artist is paid or not. Probably is. He's got an actual illustrator. So I don't know if you would pay an actual illustrator, but if you look closely at the AI art, like there's one of them. In one of them, she's got 6 fingers. Did you notice that? And it's very it looks very sheddy to me. Like, a lot of the art there is very. It looks like her clothes seem to be falling off her into the air around. And so she starts off with chainmail, and then she turns into wearing plate mail, which is not what she has. Though those are some things that I was thinking.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess those questions. Also, some of those things are also just like me personally, not the AI, right? It's like I was trying different. I also tried different stuff. So like, well, again, like there's there's a lot of ethical questions. Like, yeah, I mean, I do different art styles, and yeah, I mean, also I do want to say most of these stuff is just kind of concepts for me. I'm not like it's not absolutes, right? I just want. I mostly like when I can just look at different ideas. I try different. There's different art styles. There's a lot of different things you can do. I know for this one character, it's Yeah, I know. There's a lot of questions. Like again, like paying an artist, for example. But then again, I can't pay an artist if I don't make any money either. I can't pay
Yeah.
like
Yep.
$5,000 a
Okay.
year if I'm making $0, right? That's like that's an impossibility reality. No business can
Yeah.
pay significantly more than they ever generate themselves. You have to make significant profits, and then some of some of that goes to like the people you would pay. So yeah, it's
That's why.
I think I think another problem I run into is again like I don't really have anyone to help me like with my project, right? And I don't really have a lot of people to get consult me with for ideas and stuff. And I kind of like I do it all by myself. So maybe I use
Mm.
AI as like the level of a compensation or convenience because like someone like me, like I go out there and it's like, well, what do I do? Who can I have help me? Or I don't have a group of people to help me, right? So I just kind of am stuck on my own. So maybe I've turned to AI on some levels out of I don't know, because like I don't really have any other choice. It's either I do something that could be considered morally great or I die. It's like you get one or the other, and it's like I guess I just chose like made like the lesser of routes to survive, right? So some people would view that as like, negative, and like sometimes I kind of view as negative too. But it's like even trying to get players for my group, like what do I really do? I I kind of went a little bit from Christianity. I found some more secular people, but like I literally went for almost 3 months without getting a single player. So I turned to some other route. And I know that's again a little gray, maybe, but it's like the whole Discord, all the hands, they just basically be dead. Right now, we wouldn't even have this conversation; it'd just be dead. So I kind of look at it like, I mean, I know, um, so
I don't know. I mean,
I don't
I
know.
understand. I
I'll,
understand where you're. I understand. Oh, sorry. I understand where you're coming from, Phil. Because I mean, I'm of all the gifts that God's given me, I wish He'd given me the ability to draw. That would have been so much better. That would have been so much easier. But I mean, and this is one of the things. Obviously, the issues I'm having with maps at the moment is to try to find, because I have an idea in my brain about what the map needs to look like for the story, but I can't, find anything like that. So I need to try to maybe smash some things together and do various things. So I mean, but that's the thing is that how do you? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I mean,
I
again,
get
then
that. So
there's some
yeah,
ethical issues.
that's like questionable, right?
Yeah,
Because of the AI,
yeah.
I could you got a whole map drawn right now in 5 minutes. Your entire idea would have fully, you got a full shot like me, like within 5 minutes, your idea could be a reality. That's also very great. Some
Mm,
people are not won't like that, right? I could tell you, I could probably have the
mm,
map made for you. It may not be. Some people may not like it, right? But that map could be drawn. You could have like 10
mm,
maps. But again, that's questionable. Some people don't like that. I mean, to me, it's like
mm,
personally, I find AI to be a very useful tool. And I know, I'm one of the, I'm probably more pro AI than some other people are, right? A lot of people are very anti it. I just know, maybe I just find it really convenient. So, I mean, I don't know.
mm,
It's, and I know it's a contentious issue, and it's very split down the middle. Um, and I know I don't really like I don't like want to use AI to use like my creative thinking and stuff either, though, because like like as a person, like I have my own creative thinking. Like I don't want to like not have
yeah.
my own brain, right? But I don't know. It's very controversial. The other thing is, I genuinely believe that AI is the future. So I think that within 10 years, it's going to be completely normal, and people are just going to be completely okay and accepting it for the most part. So if I feel like also getting behind it now, it's also has its value. I know this is very controversial, right? But and yeah,
Mm,
and sometimes it does make slop too. It can make some slop. It also can make really. I think it also can make really high quality premium stuff. It can make complete crap, but sometimes it can make really nice if you figure out how to do it. Like some of the like, I do think they look actually quite good. So, some don't. But so that's um, It's also why.
Nope. Nope. I cannot hear you anymore.
I can't hear you either. Sorry.
We got bad signal from you, Phil.
Yeah.
You got to move somewhere. And try again from pros and cons.
Yeah, we can't. Oh,
Okay,
gonna come back.
maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I do get, as I say, I do get where he's coming from. The idea that I mean, so I've written a book about my whole thing, which is full of
Can you hear me?
placeholder clip art. Yeah, yeah. Now we can.
Yes, this is better.
I don't know what I last said or how long I've been out.
Pros and cons.
What did I say before that, or what was the last thing I said?
You thought it was the way of the future.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
was thinking.
Okay. All right. So yeah, is that what I said? Okay. So yeah, the way of the future. Yeah, I do kind of feel like that's sort of true. I think it's coming no matter what. I mean, I know that's. I feel like I'm like it's very controversial. But okay. Yeah, I don't know how much you even heard what I said or it was clear. Well, what do you think about the things that I've said?
Well, that's why I was asking if you were going to try and sell it. If you're just making it for a game to play with your friends, you know what? Fine. Would I guess I mind it less if you're using AI because you'd be using it for, like private flair, I guess. But I think if you are wanting to make if you are wanting to try and sell some of your RPG ideas, then I think you would want at least consistent branding. And yes, the theme is pretty similar overall, but your logo keeps changing. And it keeps changing because you're using AI. And but I think if I might challenge you to make, I mean, you can draw your ideas from what you already have AI to make you. And then go from there. I think if I would like to challenge you to do that. Because you can make this kind of card on your own. I think you can do that. And then again, maybe I'm more maybe I'm more experienced in this than you, but I think you can do that because I think I can do that. So, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's all that hard. So, like, if you look, you've got this, fanciful border which you could make, or just, get from some Creative Commons area. There's crosses everywhere. You can make your own logo. You could do that. Um, and then the background of the text, you could get, some scroll background. That's not hard. And then the picture part, I've already shown you where to get that from. Your tiers, it's not, I don't think it's all that hard to do. And then, you know, Bible text, very easy to copy and paste from something like Bible Gateway. That's not hard either. So I don't think it would be hard to make your own cards like that. And then, or to make character art. So I reckon you could do it yourself, and then your brand would be consistent, in like a business sense. But again, that is if you're going like the business marketing route. If you are just playing a game with your friends, you know, it's what you want. That's what
Yeah.
I think and how I feel.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, my biggest issue with AI art is that it's beginning to look very generic. That's and again, that's a personal issue rather than anything else. Is that a lot of the AI stuff you can kind of tell it's AI stuff because it's very similar looking. And that's the thing. It doesn't really have a lot of individual flair, a lot of individual style. One of the issues with because I'm making board games and I'm trying to put together board game components like cards and stuff like that, is that a lot of what I've found is that the artwork really is the very last thing I need to sort of be concerned about. And this is, I suppose, also opens up a whole nother topic of whether we want to get things published, whether there are publishers or something available, because generally a publisher will put their own artwork on it. They will have their own branding, they'll have their own style, they'll have their own sort of, way of formatting and typesetting and stuff like that as well. Whereas if you're doing it all yourself, then yeah, you've got to do that. You've got to typeset it and format it and, find all the artwork and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I guess from my issue, yeah, I don't necessarily want to do AI art because I do feel it's taking over from actual people who could get paid for it. But also it does tend to look it's starting to look very same. It's not very similar all over in different things, which is interesting. I find that interesting because you think AI would be very different, but it has a tendency of being a very similar look. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to criticize what you do either. I don't want to say, oh, what you're doing is rubbish, because I don't think it is. But I do understand where Grace is coming from as well. I think artwork. I don't know if artwork is really I don't think people go to your product because it's got nice art. I think they probably go to your product because it's got something different, or something new, or something interesting to play. I think you've got that, so it's good. Anyway,
Okay.
that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I've been thinking about some of this stuff, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, again, and one of the other problems again is that it's like as much as I would like to pay, an artist or something, it's hard to find them, and then it can be extremely expensive. And also the other problem again is like I'm a Christian, for example. So I go out and I say I want to talk to artists, and it's like 90% of the people out there are extreme left-wing activists, and they just hate me just because I'm a Christian. So there's really no other argument behind why they would hate me. They don't like me, and they don't like anyone like me at all. So it's like I go out to a friend. I went out. I was like, I'm gonna go look for an artist. I don't know, just go find some generic place. It's like I'd be hard pressed to find a person of the faith anywhere, or anyone that would even be willing to look at my art, and then be willing to consider it. And it's like, and then they'd be like, oh, we'll draw you this picture. It'll take us like 2 weeks. We'll charge you $250. And I'm like, and it's like, and it might not even look that good. I don't even know I don't even, like, it's like, and then like you can meet people in person, which is probably be better, but like online, it's like very difficult. And it's all these complex, layers of stuff. And then it's like, and then also it's like competition. It's like, again, like even if I did something, I still have to compete. I'm still competing against an extremely big mainstream market that, my little niche group, right? It's already kind of niche as it is.
Mm.
And it's like, I don't know. There's all these questions. Like, I mean, I would like to be able to make, and like, if I made all my stuff myself, it's like, I don't know. These are, they're interesting questions that come up. And it's like, I mean, I feel like this channel is already struggling as it is. So it's like, I don't really have like the backing. Like, I don't have a financial backing, right? So even if I really can't do anything right now as it is. Otherwise, everything completely comes out of my pocket. Which again, it's like, I'm not saying I'm against spending money or investing things. It's just like there's like a limit in doing something, And like another problem I run into is I don't have like people who give me advice and stuff, or they'll come out and help me on the channel and stuff either. So then it's like I ask people, hey, what's your opinion on this, or what do you think about this? And I get crickets basically, which can be difficult because like sometimes it's like it'll become like, what do you call it? Like it's like you have your ideas and your opinions, and you kind of like you're almost in like a little echo chamber. So like I'm like I have this opinion, I have these ideas and thoughts, and I kind of ask people to put it out there, and it's like a vacuum sometimes. It's like I don't get any responses. I can't really there's nothing I can do at a certain point. So then I'm just kind of I have myself. I kind of just have to make my own decisions and think myself, which can be, I think it can be a little bit dangerous sometimes to live in your own little chamber. But sometimes I think as like an independent small person, sometimes that's all you really get though. I mean, it's kind of a harsh reality, but a lot of people, they just, like, well, who are you going to turn to? I mean, you could watch a video on YouTube, maybe they'll give you some opinion, you can listen to someone else completely different to you and hope that maybe that will somehow help you, or you can get some self-help or something, right? But and like, there's sources of like wisdom. Like, you read the Bible, right? Like that's a good source of truth. But like without advisors and without people to help you, without people to give you money, and without anything, right? Or people to help you make product or content, it's like it can be very hard. So
yeah, I do get where you're coming from.
And like I'm not trying to, I don't expect pity or anything, right? And that's not any of my goal. I just think it's just some of my reasoning behind what I do. Like even if I make a YouTube video, for example, it might just get 5 views, or maybe it gets 100 views, and I get one comment and someone's like, "Oh, God bless, man," and it's like, okay, but like at the end of the day, like it's not like there's really any, like I don't have a feedback loop sometimes, and all these little things. So maybe that's kind of why I turned to AI to help me a little bit. Which I know some people, this is just my own reason, right? So, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm trying to get.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, or like even your game, right? You kind of gave up making YouTube videos for a year, right? It's like you're kind of like, right? You want to do the RPG, but it's like, well, it's like you're not really making any money from it, and it's not really going anywhere or influencing anyone. You're not quite getting what you want from it, but like you want to do more, and I also can feel that, right? But it's like it just kind of sucks. I guess that's probably the best reasoning. Like I feel you on that, right? It's like, you have a really cool idea, but it just doesn't really go anywhere, I guess. Or like even for my game, like I started using kind of 5th edition, and like it did gain a level of popularity, and like people will play it and like look at it and talk at it now, right? So there was that, but
I think you need to find somebody, and I guess you're trying to do that now. So I don't know whether this is helpful or not. But you need to find somebody with a similar vision, and maybe have a partner or somebody who's sort of has an idea and is interested in pursuing as well. So it's not just you, because it sounds like it's kind of just you pushing this thing all the time, and it sounds like you're sort of feeling a bit alone. So maybe you can find somebody who's like in the gaming area and gaming world or the Christian world or both, who has that vision. You can bounce ideas off each other and you can talk to them and you can do that sort of stuff. But yeah, it is. I think it is very difficult, sort of being on your own, trying to push your own thing. And I guess you need thick skin to be able to do it. But I mean, also like taking constructive criticism, being able to run with that and use that sort of stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah.
This is one of my issues. So in terms of, me doing my game, I don't know if my game will ever get up. It would be great if it does. I'm sort of slowly, step by step, trying to do stuff. Today's conversation has been really helpful because
Good.
I think some of the issues you guys raise are very true, which means I need to look at how can I address them. But yeah, and trying to say, okay, well, what's your next step? What can you do next? If there is a good chance that if you try to put this out in the wider world, you'll get a lot of backlash about AI art, and people may refuse to read further when they see the artwork, which is an issue. And it's an issue because what you have inside there might be amazing and it might be fantastic and it might be wonderful, but people won't be able to see it. So I don't know how you do that, how you get over that. Presumably, yes, you need some artwork, but maybe it's a way of, again, I guess what you're doing is bringing people in and showing people how the game works and all that sort of stuff without necessarily having the art or depending upon the art to be the draw card. So you're looking at the game itself and trying to work out what the game can actually can do for people, which is a
Yeah.
hard sell, I know. But anyway,
Actually, how did you go with pushing it as like pretty similar to 5e? You got a lot of players interested?
Well, I think because originally the game was just kind of like a simple D20 system, so I just kind of had some similarities, I guess. So I just kind of like it was kind of going down the road a little bit like 5e. I feel like right now it's also not. I mean, it's also kind of separates itself a bit from 5th edition too. It's kind of its own game system.
Okay.
But
What is different?
well, I mean, I have I do a lot of I have a lot of homebrew stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like also the fact that it's Christian, like the fact that it's Christian alone, like D&D generally is completely disassociated 100% basically, because D&D is like only fantasy, and like I have God, for example, and God doesn't exist in D&D. And I don't really support magic. I mean, there is kind of some magic in the game, but it doesn't really support it. Which like 80% of Dungeons and Dragons is basically all just sorcery. Because I don't really support sorcery for the players. It like almost completely disconnects it completely from the game in and of itself. Because pretty much all of D&D right now is like completely just a full pagan game. Like, literally is at this point. Maybe it wasn't originally, but it's pretty much just like all magic. Everything's magic in D&D. And like literally every class too. Like there's like the basic fighter isn't, and there might be like a little bit here and there of like another class. Pretty much every class and all the subclasses are all completely sorcery related. And I just kind of don't have sorcery for my players. So I use these miracles and I use holy powers, and I use some other stuff. But that alone just completely like I think disconnects it.
Well, I don't know. I would argue that it's similar enough still to where's that? Yeah, to D&D in that you are using or I don't know. Let me think because I think I also found a basic role playing game system from somewhere that also uses a D20. And if you are homebrewing a whole bunch of stuff see how much it this is air power. What's the rest? Yeah, but if you're still using a D20 for like success failure, then I would argue that it's still close enough to D&D 5e to be counted as that, but your setting is Christian, and which is being influenced. Your system is being influenced by the setting, but that's what makes it Christian, I would say, because
Yeah, I would probably agree. To be honest, I think if it sounds kind of like a reskinning 5e. You're sort of putting a different skin on it, like rather than spells. You don't have spells, but you have miracles. But miracles are exactly the same. They do the same things. They're just not spells. No, it's not called spells. So I guess like in the situation, I can't play a wizard, but if I want to play someone who does similar things, would it be a cleric or would it be I don't know.
or a paladin.
Or a paladin or I don't know what your
Well,
terms
built,
are, what your classes are.
I built some holy users. I haven't really had anybody play one actually, but I built some stuff.
Yeah,
I built a.
but like, so are the holy users essentially wizards? Like they don't cast spells, but do they cast miracles or do they cast?
Well, I've been working on this stuff. I've been changing.
Yeah.
I try out I go on my way to change a lot of terminologies. I think a lot of it's the source of where things come from too. So like I kind of like removed a lot of these words. Like I basically instead of casting, now I've come with the word invoking. You invoke miracle. So there's like that, for example, and like they're like and then there's different ways of going about a lot of this stuff. And like I think for right now, my goal right now was just there's some of these miracles are very similar to spells. Now, I mean, other than changing the names and terms, I think my goal was that I just wanted to put stuff out there that people can start using for right now. And I can just one of my other things that I try not to I don't believe that in my mind I have to rewrite the whole wheel of everything, and a little bit of hubris I guess to that. But I mean, I do need to I want to change it a bit. But it's not like I'm not like I don't have to come in with the mindset that I'm the next like J.R.R. Tolkien or something. I'm kind of just a guy at the end of the day. We all have value, right? But I don't have to believe that I'm the one all be all next. The big deal.
I recognize that.
So I mean, I want to make some more of my own stuff too. That's also like the divine holy powers, for example. Like that's my own system. Like I made that all myself. It's nothing to do with like D&D, for example. So so like that was my own thing. And then I call them miracles. And like I also did, and I feel like the art changed enough that they do sometimes seem similar. But like even for example, like I put a Bible verse on them. I call them a miracle. I call them invoking. I removed the spell component, so there's no components other than you don't have to like consume a resource. Like it's not casting a spell by burning up some old moth leaf. It's just there's no components other than like voice or like basically God. There's no real components, I guess. And I changed some of these up a little bit too. Like anything with like necrotic, I just changed them to like what do you call it, radiance. So, and I've also been changing the names of them too. Some of them I kept the same. If like Cure Wounds, for example, seems like kind of like a normal one. I don't really feel like it's like for right now. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But like Witch Bolt or something, I might change that. Or like Magic Missile or something, I might change some of these names. Or Charm Person, I think I call this one Pacify Person, I guess. So yeah, they are similar. They're very similar sometimes, but I do change them up a little bit. So yeah. Yeah,
okay.
I guess also it's a process. It takes a long time to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Well, that's still really close to what is already existing in the D&D system wise. Because in that, when a PC tries something, they might be the one that rolls the D20, and that would suggest that they are they're the hero, which I guess there's nothing wrong with that for a role-playing game. Let me think. Here's
I
the.
don't know. I think it depends.
I
It depends
made.
what you want to do.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do. I have actually made a chart before of ex of biblical powers, and at the time I made it for D&D. Wait, let me find it.
Like a
Maybe it's
one-to-one comparison.
no. Maybe. Where is it?
I once Googled all the miracles of the Bible. So all the miracles are listed in the Bible.
Right.
And I've got it printed down on a sheet, and I was going to say, oh, well, I could have all of these as things you could do in the game because they've all got biblical precedents. And then you could actually, you could roll to achieve any of these things. So you can pick and choose. There's like hundreds of different
So
ones.
you
And
Googled it
I
and you
thought,
found it.
I Googled it and found it because it's just there. You could find a list of all the miracles, like the Old and New Testament miracles, and I was thinking, oh yeah, I could do that, and you could roll for these things. You could pick and choose which miracles or which sort of things you have faith for that day, and then you could choose that sort of stuff. But there was things like, if strictly speaking, the creation of the earth, Genesis 1:1, is a miracle. But I don't want my players to be able to create their own planet and say, "Oh, yeah, I rolled to create my own planet. We'll live on it." I think no, I'm not going to have that one. So, but
No one's going
anything
to
that
do that.
I wouldn't include it. But anything that a person did in Scripture, so like Moses called down a swarm of gnats, or darkness, or boils, or Jesus fed the 5,000 and all these sort of stuff. Because, Jesus said, greater things than I do will you do. So I was thinking, oh, well, that's good that we've got a precedent for being able to do all these things. But it ended up, I didn't do that in the end because it was too much work for me. And also, I sort of felt like I was going to lock people into this. Oh, I'll pick and choose my spells for the day. I'll pick and choose my miracles for the day, which I thought was seemed a bit weird. But there you go. That was what you can do. You can do that though, Phil, if you want to. Maybe look at those things as things that people can do in the game. I don't know.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll listen to it.
Yeah, because I had the biblical name of something that was done. I had the Bible reference, and I tried to limit it to what humans did, and not not what the not what a supernatural did. But I think so I had the biblical reference on one side and what it was referred to there, on another side, and then I was comparing it with like, for example, a D&D spell or power.
Mm. Mm.
So I pulled that up. Now my computer is frozen. It's frozen. It's frozen.
Yeah.
So I did have a list, and then now you're telling me that it already exists. But never mind.
You went through the Bible, did you?
Yes, I
And
went the
wrote down
Bible
every
route,
miracle.
and
God, effort for you.
close to, I think. Yeah, but yeah, I went the Bible way, and then I went to D&D. Sort of is what I did, and then I just continued listing it, really.
Mm. Mm.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's not complete, but it's frozen. The computer is frozen. I went to another tab,
You can send it
and
later.
yeah, but no spoilers. Spoiling.
No spoilers about that Bible. Don't spoil the Bible for me. I haven't read it yet.
all spoiled
Yeah.
already. Totally ruined.
I know.
Yes.
Don't you hate it when you're reading the New Testament and they kill your favorite character? I hate that.
Good. So yeah, so I think I shouldn't have held it on, shouldn't have held on to it for so long. I think I should just let you have it, Phil. But I think maybe you might be interested in that. Yeah, to compare what already exists in D&D, and then if you are wanting to, you know, like reskin it, sure. If you want to allow the players, well, coming from a D&D side, I think they will usually be expecting to feel like their characters are heroes. But I think the other thing is that whereas if you come from a maybe almost a lot of other systems, the character will feel much more vulnerable, I think, or squishy, if you would. And I think that is also interesting, and maybe it requires a bit more bravery on the player's part. But I think that would be interesting, because ultimately, who is the hero? Actually, it's not us, it's God. So the power actually is from God, but and we don't know if what miracle we invoke is going to work or not. Yes, but we don't even know what the chance is that it'll work, and I think that is also interesting. But those are my thoughts.
Okay. So
I
let
totally
me ask you
agree.
this. Oh.
You go.
So let me ask you this question then. So either of you two, would you ever be willing to go on, like, I mean, because one of the things I wanted to do for the channel also is, it's like a community, right? Because it doesn't have to just only be me. Because if it's only me, I'm just kind of do whatever, right? I just put crap out there. I don't know. I mean, who knows what's gonna happen. But if you have ideas or you have thoughts, would you be willing to like write any of this stuff down on any of these, or I can make a new tab or something, right? Or are you willing to put any ideas out there, or or have conversations or anything about any of this stuff on here, or work
I
on
can
anything?
send you my table. It's not complete, I think, but I think if I put it on your server, it will spoil it. I think if you want people to learn about these, shall we say, powers of miracles, if you want them to learn about it, I think, then I don't know how fast you want them to learn it. as opposed to like all at once, or as opposed to bit by bit. I think that's up to
Oh, you
you.
mean in terms
But
of progressing the character? You mean leveling up the character? What they can do and what they can't do?
I don't
Is that
know.
what you mean, Grace?
No,
No worries.
I mean,
No,
I mean like all the options at once, or just a few options at once. I don't know. It could be, if you do it all at once, then you have the potential for information overload,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
that could
Phil,
be scary to new players.
Yeah, Phil, I'm happy to put ideas up, on a tab somewhere. I guess the only issue for us, or the only issue for me, is that I do have my own game I'm trying to create and trying to put together. However, my games, I think the mechanics is mostly finished. So it's more about I'm looking more for ideas for stories. But so I'm more than happy if I have any ideas for anything, put something up on a tab. Might be a good idea, might be a bad idea. I don't know. Depends. But yeah. But
Well,
again,
Greg,
yeah.
do you have a Discord?
Yeah.
You do?
Mine's called Unorthodox TTRPG.
Okay. So you put
Yeah.
stuff up there regularly, or you have people on there
No, I
regularly?
hardly ever do.
Oh.
I started it, and I think I played a couple of games on there with Grace, I think once, and who was that? What's his name? Sorry, I can't remember. We played a
Louis.
couple of games, but I haven't done it. Louise,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's new to Discord, like as in Greg is. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm very new to the whole Discord thing. But I did put up my own site and stuff like that, but I haven't used it hardly at all. So
Oh yeah, let me ask you this then. I guess here's a good question. This kind of just came up randomly, but so I was looking to find more game masters or people who want to either host or play games. Would you want to, if you want, for example, you could, I could make you like a little tab here thing, and you could, I don't know, put.
Well, I'm happy to, but the thing is, I don't know your game, and I know. I mean, I've DM'd D&D before, and I'm vaguely familiar with some other systems, but I'd be more keen to play my own game, and I don't know if that's what you want in your.
Well, no, I mean, I'm also
Discord.
just saying, like, if you wanted, also, you could even put it on here for your own game.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, that's up to you, though. You think
Oh yeah,
about
no,
it.
I'm just saying this is just I mean, in like we could work together, right?
Sure.
Both of us alone, is failure, but both of us together,
Yeah.
maybe some kind of,
Right.
it's just an option. I mean,
I think that's
I'd be willing to.
a biblical thing, isn't it? Apes together
Oh yeah,
strong.
look at that. Yeah, look at that. No, I'm just saying. I mean, these are just the things that I have an interest in wanting to do. One way or the other, right?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, I'm happy to do it
because like it would help you maybe find some people. Some people on here might be interested in trying it out too.
Yeah,
And then,
sure.
if that's something you would want, right?
Sure.
I mean, unless you like, for example, if you don't really use your Discord and it has almost no traction, anyways. Again, if you want to use your own, that's great too.
I don't use it, so it's not really any skin off my nose. But
So,
I'm more than happy if you want to give me free exposure.
yeah, no, I mean, again, like I would,
Sure.
yeah, if you wanted to put something on here, you can make a little tab, or I don't know, or something, right? We could think about it. I mean, I'd be willing to, I'd be willing to try it. I'm willing to try it if it would, help us both, maybe.
Sure.
If you're interested,
Sure.
No pressure or anything.
Yeah, let me know. No, I reckon it was.
Yeah.
Let me know.
Okay.
All right. Look, I might probably head off. I'm getting hungry. I'm gonna eat some lunch.
That's fair.
But thank you so much for this. This has been very fruitful. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for hanging out.
Well, it was good to talk to you again, Grace. Appreciate it.
I don't know if she's there or not.
Oh, no, she's there. That's all right. Are you going to put this online?
yes, thank you for sharing, fellas.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for your questions and everything. Appreciate all those things. All right, yeah. Well, let me know if you put it online or something. I'll be interested. Otherwise,
Okay.
I might head off.
All
All
right.
right, thanks, guys.
It was good
Take care.
chatting.
Oh, Antonius, you back?
Yeah, I kind of came back for a minute. I was
Oh,
still not here for long, but I saw you guys were still on when I came back. So.
yeah. I'm about to go. I'm going to have lunch. It's like
All
12:30
right.
Yeah.
in the daytime.
Yeah. See
All
ya.
right. Thanks, guys. All right. See ya.
Bye-bye.
All right. See you.
Yeah.